Yes, I want that music to go on for a little bit longer. You know?
Oh, listen, I thought I was going into a fight then, so like a street fight.
I've got to stretch that out a little bit, I think, next time. It was just getting going now. I was just like, yeah. Right. Big up to everyone in the chat. Hope you're doing good. Hope everyone's well. And yeah, it's another 12:30 show, guys. These are what I'll be doing from there on, guys. So every day of the week, Monday to Friday, I'll be doing a 12:30 show. And I'll be doing a show every evening as well. It'll go on Monday to Friday as well. It'll be 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So that's what I'm doing going forward, guys. These 12:30 shows are going to be talking about transfers mostly in January. That's what we're talking about today. So we're talking about Liverpool's transfer policy. We're talking about Caicedo. There's big rumours that Liverpool in the hunt for Caicedo this January. And we're going to talk about Liverpool's top 4 hopes, because I think we do have to get top 4 this season, even if we get taken over, next season by, I don't know, Dubai, Qatar, wherever bloody hell it's going to be. That we still need Champions League football. Liverpool Football Club cannot be out of the Champions League, in my opinion. So top 4 is a must. So we're going to be talking about that. But I'm joined with Ends, man, right now. We've got Cav coming as well, and G and everyone. But Ends, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm ready to chop it up. Let's go, man. I'm ready.
Do this. Already got 45 people in the chat. Guys, don't forget that. Hit that fun button straight away. There's 45 of you here. There's only 21 likes. Let's get the likes straight up, guys. Come on. Hit that fun button underneath the video. Get them likes straight up. Big up, man. Like Jab. How you doing, my man? Jice, Edward, David, how you doing? Hope we get a midfield player this window. We're going to talk about that. Fran, hope you're doing well. Psychedelic, how you doing, my man? Yes, I'm ripping up my Japanese kit. I got it for Christmas off the wife. I only mentioned it a little bit in the World Cup that, that's my favourite shirt. That's my favourite kit in the World Cup. And she got it for me for Christmas, so big up the wife. So, Varian, how you doing, my man? Redbird in the house, how you doing? Scoobius Pip, all good, man, all good. Hope you're doing good. Go, how you doing, my friend? Kadir. Everyone in the house, 6 times. Further Paul in the house as well. Big up to you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. And Jordan, my man, hope you're doing good as well. I hope everyone's doing well today. Nadia. Yeah, it is a quality kit, man. It's Adidas, though, ain't it? I mean, let's face it. They're the best kit makers. they just make great kits. They just
actually
make great.
Spend time trying to make them.
Yeah, they don't just do a template like a certain kit does. Nice. Yeah, big up, Redbird. We're good, man. We're good. And Lee in the house as well. Get the boy from Brighton and Bellingham this summer. There you go. So Caicedo, guys. Let's talk about Caicedo. So as soon as the Gakpo deal was done, we was all hyped. We was all happy. Some people weren't. Their problem. Obviously, we needed a midfielder. We all know we need a midfielder. I think every professional football club in the world knows Liverpool needs a midfielder. We got Gakpo in, which I think is the right decision Liverpool to do with the injury to Luis Diaz and Diogo Jota right now. We can't be light in the forward areas if we're light in midfield as well. Scoring goals is the aim of the game, guys. So you need forward players in there keep the squad rotation going. So that was the right decision. £37 million. Can't be sniffed at. Great bit of business. No doubt about that. I'm perfectly fine with that bit of business. I'm really happy about it as well. But we need a midfielder, Ends, and we have, at this moment in time, 11 midfielders on our books. 11 midfielders. Now, I've seen some people tweet, go, we have 11 midfielders. Why do we need another one? Now, I was looking at it, thinking, right, I was reading this tweet and going, has he got a point? We have 11 midfielders doing the another one. And then I was thinking, but if we had 5 quality midfielders, we don't need 11. So is it quality over quantity? I mean, what do you think, Ends?
So you hit the nail on the head there. We've got 11 midfielders, and you can probably say maybe one is world class, and that's Thiago. The rest of them are probably, let's say, just about average, maybe average. It can do a job. So we need to get some very good world class, if not top midfielders in our midfield again. We can't rely on Ox. We can't rely on Naby. I mean, he looks rejuvenated after the World Cup, so we can count on him again. But he's probably a 60-minute kind of player. Flacco, he's been hit and miss this season. People are saying his legs are gone. Maybe his personal life is getting in the way of that. Who else we got in there? Got Milner. He's on the way out. But he can give you a 7 out of 10. And then we got Harvey and we got Carvalho. They're young players. They're still, learning their trade, especially Harvey and especially Carvalho. Carvalho doesn't really have a position in the team. Then you got Curtis Jones as well. We don't know what's happened to him. He's been missing for a month. No one knows where he is. I haven't seen him in training videos. I haven't even seen him upload anything on Instagram. So who knows what's happened to him? So yes, we do need some top midfielder. Caicedo could be one of those. Amrabat. The one that I really want is Frankie de Jong. I know I'm just putting it in the universe. Might happen. It may never happen, but if I don't say something about it, maybe it will happen at one point. So you're right, man. We need some quality midfielders in and get rid of these average players.
Yeah, we've got a lot of dead weight in the midfield. Like, I'll read out players here. So we've got Fabinho, Thiago, Hendo, Millie, Naby, Ox, Curtis, Harvey, Fabio. That's 9 alone. And then you got Stefan. What did I call him the other day? Yeah, Stefan Setic, that's it. Or Stefan Iniesta, as I like to call him. Oh, yeah. and then Arthur. So that's 11 midfielders. Now, Fabinho, Thiago, and Henderson are the 3 you would say would stay at the football club.
Yeah.
They're Klopp's first choice. Harvey is the youngster. Fabio Carvalho, I'm a little worried about, I ain't gonna lie. But they're the 4 you'd think, right, that's Liverpool definitely keeping them. They stay in the team. And then Millie's got I don't know what's going to happen with Milner. Have you seen that Milner did the first ever Liverpool podcast on Liverpool TV?
I need to watch that. I haven't watched it
yet. Really good. It's a really good 45-minute video. It's a really good show. Right, it's funny. Milner's actually hilarious. Right, yeah. Milner is actually hilarious, yeah. But he's so, I don't know. There's something tells me he's staying at Liverpool Football Club. I just feel like, yeah, because he's doing his coaching badges at the moment, isn't he? Yeah. And he's got to do his A license. I think he just did his B license. So that might be something he's looking at, Ox probably go. Milner, if he does, he goes. He's got a year like he's coming to the end. Naby's going. Curtis Jones is another one. And we find out again today, Curtis Jones is injured again. What did he do this time?
I don't know. He's been out. If you put the time frame in, he's been injured for over a month now. So I don't know what injury that could be.
I didn't even know he was injured. I just thought he weren't playing because there was nothing said about it, was there?
No. So remember when they went away to was it Dubai? They went away to.
Yeah.
There was he was never in any of the photos. So from there, you're like, okay, he must be injured. And I haven't seen him throughout that whole training camp. You haven't seen him back. We've played the Premier League game. We've also played the Carabao Cup game. you haven't seen him there. None of the training videos you've seen him since they've been back either. So I don't know what injury he has, man. Could have the same thing Jadon Sancho has.
What shitness? I mean, it's a weird one because obviously he was out for a long time with his eye injury, which was apparently really bad. Because I feel for him for that one because it had nothing to do with his body whatsoever. Yeah. It was just that someone apparently the finger got caught right behind the eye and sort of pulled his eye forward. So his eyeball came forward a little bit, but it didn't detach. So they had to heal that up, and you're not going to play with one eye, are you? So
no.
That I can't really put that on him, but he always seems to have, with Curtis Jones, they're always training injuries. They're always training injuries.
Look, he's a kid that wants to get in the first team. He's a Liverpool lad. He obviously wants to follow in the footsteps of like Gerrard, Trent, that's got in the team as a scouser, Jamie Carragher. So he's probably in training, working really hard. So maybe that's the reason why he keeps getting injured. He wants to prove him. Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. He wants to prove himself. So I don't know, man. I really like the kid, and I really want him to do well. But at the moment, man, it's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah, I mean, possibly COVID. I mean, it could be, but he's been missing a month now. I'm not sure. I'm not. I ain't heard the word COVID in ages, I'm not sure, Curtis. There's another one. So I don't know what Liverpool are going to do. If I look at it, I think I was just seeing Edward's comment there. Where's Edward's comment? He's saying it now. I don't think we sign anyone further this month. Now, I'm not usually. Look, I'm not one of the crowd that completely hate our owners, completely hate FSG, completely hate this, completely hate that. I'm not one of these fans. I just support the club. But I think, like, with the situation we got right now, this club needs a midfielder in January because you can't be buying too much in the summer. If Liverpool's hopes is Jude Bellingham in the summer, then they got to go and get Jude Bellingham, don't they? I mean, that's the one they want. But if that's the one they want, then they need more enforcement in that midfield area now, in my opinion, because you can't do too much. Jude Bellingham's going to be probably your only bit of business in the summer, I would have thought. So you need a midfielder now. Caicedo, for me, is the perfect choice. What are you reckoning?
Yeah, so in terms of if we don't get no one now, that means you're possibly looking at making 3 signings for the midfield in the summer. That's a lot of work, as you were saying. We need to get someone in now, bed them in now, and then once you get the other guys in, maybe the Jude Bellinghams and whoever else you think we need, because we're going to lose 3 midfielders in the summer, and we have to kind of replace them because, as I was saying on a previous show, we have got Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, and the Premier League to go for. So we're going to need a big squad, but of quality. I'm not saying we just need to throw loads of bodies in there and then play them. I'm talking about top quality midfielders where we can rotate, so we can keep everyone fresh in the squad. So if we get one maybe now, if 2, and then you only need to work on Bellingham in the summer, that's perfect because you've done all the hard work now. So then you can focus in the summer to go and get the one centre mid and maybe a centre half, depending on what you're doing in terms of longevity for Matty, maybe moving Joey out to the right back position. So you're probably going to need another centre half if Nat Phillips goes as well. His contract runs out in the summer as well, doesn't it? So yeah. So I think we should go and get 2 now, bearing in mind we're going to lose 3 in the summer and then work on Jude and whoever else we need to work on in the summer.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely Caicedo. Now, I think Edward was saying as well. I agree, but I don't think we'll spend 200 million in 2 mids on Jude and Caicedo. Let me just bring Cav in. Big up, Cav. You all right, mate?
Hey guys, you okay?
Yeah, we're good, mate. We're good. Oh, and G's here as well. Let's bring in G as well into the house. How you doing, G?
I'm all good, man. How you guys doing, man? You guys all right?
Hey, G.
Good,
man.
Good, man. Doing good. So we're just saying here, I don't think we'll spend 200 million on 2 mids, Jude and Caicedo. Look, I know a lot of people are like, we let go. We buy. We let go of somebody, and who we go let go of. The thing is, because so many go leave out a contract, you're freeing up so much money. It's like the situation with Mo Salah. As soon as Mane left, they freed up money so they could give They basically gave Mane's contract over to Mo and put that on top of what Mo. Because if you work out what Mo was on and what Mane was on, it equals 350k. So that's basically what they did. They just did that. They shifted it across. Which
hold on, Jamie. Hold on. What T-shirt is that?
Japan.
Oh, I was wondering. I didn't know who it was. I was thinking that's not a red top.
yeah. It's I was saying to my wife, like, this is my favourite kit of the World Cup when I saw it.
No, I like it.
And then Christmas Day morning, I unwrapped it. So big up to her.
Big up, man.
And it's comfy, man. It's comfy. And daddy dads who actually take time to make kits instead of just printing everything for everyone.
Very true.
But yeah, with the Jude Caicedo thing. So, look, we need a midfielder right now. Me and Enz were just saying we're happy with the Gakpo signing. I'm very happy with the Gakpo signing. It's a signing I think we should have made. Where the forward line is depleted as well at the moment, and if you need forwards to score goals and help out in that area. With Diaz's injury and Jota's injury, I think it would have been silly for Liverpool not getting an attacker. The Gakpo deal was very easy to do, so I can understand why that's done first. The problem Liverpool have in midfield is that every professional football club knows Liverpool need a midfielder, right? So this is going to be the hardest bit of business to do for Liverpool Football Club. Also, I think Jurgen Klopp, Pep Linders and the transfer team and everyone at Liverpool desperately want Jude Bellingham. That's the player they want. And if Jude Bellingham is 120, 130, 150 million, look, Liverpool can't go like that's why the Enzo deal was like. I always said it's got to be one or the other. You can't have both. And I know a lot of people have been going at me on Twitter about this. Yeah, why can't we get both? And like I said to them, how many owners in world football go and buy two midfielders over £100 million each in one transfer?
Unrealistic.
It's not completely realistic because you've got to put wages on top of that at the same time. So that's a lot of money for anyone to spend, no matter how rich you are. So it's always got to be one or the other. And if what Liverpool have to do now, though, with the Enzo not happening, with Tuchemeni not happening, even though we was in for him, and if Liverpool don't buy a midfielder this January, Liverpool have to buy Bellingham. They have to. If he's the one they really want, Liverpool have to buy him, G.
The problem we have with buying Bellingham is that, like, you're resting like all your hopes on. You know what? Forget if it was even Bellingham. Let's say we bought, I don't know, if it was Enzo. Like, let's say we rested all of our hopes and we said, all right, we're just going to get Enzo in the summer, for example. We're not going to sign anyone now. Basically the same thing, but just Enzo. You're putting a lot of pressure on Jude Bellingham to kind of come in and be the guy to like kind of solve the problems that we've got in midfield. And unfortunately for Jude is 19. Like, he is not going to solve the problems that we've got in midfield by himself. He'll help, of course he will. Like, he's a good player. Of course he will help, but he's not going to solve it. So then what happens when, and remember he's 19, like he's going to have games where he's had it for Dortmund this season where he's not really played that well. He's actually been one of their worst performers on the day in certain games and stuff like that. Again, he's 19. I expect that. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to play fantastic every game. So then what happens when he goes through a spell of, I don't know, Liverpool 5 games, only win 1, draw 3, lose, or whatever the case may be? What then happens to Jude Bellingham? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's too much to put on his shoulders, man. Like, we need to like offset that with a couple signings now, if I'm being honest. Liverpool need, in my opinion, one midfielder doesn't really even do anything for me. I feel like Liverpool need to get in 2 now, and then you can worry about Jude Bellingham in the summer. Because even if you don't get him, you're already kind of in a position whereby you only need one more midfielder. Do you get what I mean? So it doesn't. There's no pressure, and on top of that, trying to do that deal seems like it's going to be kind of complicated anyway. So what's to say that someone else doesn't come in, decide to throw up the money and say, you know, here you go, here's the money, Dortmund. There's so many different things. I just don't want to rest all my hopes on Jude Bellingham. Like, he isn't Lionel Messi. Like, you know, it isn't the same kind of player. This isn't Mbappe. This isn't Haaland of that level where you say he comes in, he sorts out whatever it is the issue is. Unfortunately, Liverpool have got a bigger issue and they need at least 3 midfielders to kind of come in. But obviously him coming in will help a third of that, shall we say.
Yeah, Cav, your thoughts, man?
I do agree with G, although I think that by Naby and Ox going out, there's no effect. They're never available anyway. So I never count them as options when I look at matchday squad. And then Milner leaving is an impact because this guy, I know he's getting on in his years now, and he's not, you know, the most fantastic player, but he always does a job when he plays for us. You know, he will always think. En said it earlier when I was listening in. He always gives you a 7 out of 10, and people don't like to hear it. They don't like to say it because it's not right that a guy at his age should be doing it. And people always think, he's not going to last, and we should be replacing him and things like this. But on the day, he does actually put in a good performance. Like, he just is a stopgap on that day, isn't he? He fills any position on the pitch, and he usually does all right. So you've got to replace the 2 guys that you can never count on. And I think one of them is, I would like it to be a Caicedo type figure, somebody that's really reliable. So definitely got to do 2. I think we all want Jude. That's probably a summer transfer. I don't know why you'd leave the other one till the summer. I don't know, for all the reasons that you guys have discussed. You know, they know that we're going to need midfielders, so people are going to put ridiculous price tags on top or put a premium on top. We also need them now for the remainder of the season. We're still in with 3 competitions. We can still, you know, compete for those, even though one of them is probably a real big stretch in the league. And like with the likes of Caicedo, I know it's January, but you get to the summer, how much less is he going to be, really? What, 10 million?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You might as well just pay it now. What's the point in waiting 6 months to save yourself 10 million? I know it sounds ridiculous because 10 million is a lot of money in the grand scheme of things, but like, not when you're competing for like all these trophies, and he could come in and have a real impact on getting top 4 or, you know, going far in the Champions League or winning an FA Cup, which he will because he's that good. You know, just do it now. Whether we need the 3rd position or not, I'm not too sure, to be honest, because how I would like Liverpool to operate now is get 1 in January, get 1 in now, and I'd hope that's sort of Caicedo. Get the big one in the summer, and then maybe look at the rest of the squad, because I think we might have to look at the goalkeeping position if Kelleher decides to leave. I think Adrian said he wants to leave. You know, see what Ramsey's development's like, and if he's going to actually be an option at right back. You maybe look at the forward line again, you know, and see how Gakpo and Nunez have settled, and think, oh, do I maybe need to get an extra body to cover Salah? And then obviously, like, you just don't know what happens in the next sort of 5-6 months. You could have players turn around being like, look, I want to leave, I want to get more minutes. You could have another injury. So you just have to have a bit of money just to be able to react come the summer if anything sort of arises in the time between. The midfield is funny because we have numbers, like we actually have quite a lot of numbers. It's just reliability. So if we went into next summer with the same amount of numbers, I'd be fine with it, because we're replacing guys that you can never count on with guys that probably start week in, week out. Like if you replaced Ox and Naby with Caicedo and Jude start every Premier League game. They probably start every Champions League game, and they should be rotated out from time to time. But that's 2 or 3 positions in the 2 major competitions. There's guaranteed starters. Like I think we've been burnt so much about the guys being injured and never available that we're thinking we need more midfielders. I don't think we need more in terms of numbers. We just need more in terms of availability. We just need better players that are more available.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, Liverpool. Look, I was just reading something there. Apparently, Jurgen Klopp said the signing of Gakpo will impact January transfers now. So if that's the case, then I don't know what we're doing because we need midfielders. I understand the Gakpo thing. If he's there for 37 million, go and get him. I do get that because he can be a superstar eventually. You know, he's got everything about him. It can be something special. So go and get him for 37 million. I understand that bit of business, but Liverpool need midfielders, man. We look, as Cav said, Keita, Ox. You know, you can't really count these as players because they're never available. But they're part. The problem is, Liverpool to get any midfielders in there and register them, you got to get rid of somebody. You got to get rid of some, and who are you getting rid of in January? That's the problem. No one's going to take Keita in January because he's free and he said he ain't signing a new contract, so he's definitely going. So no one's going to sign him. Ox, he's going to leave for free. With his injury record, someone will pick him up for free instead of spending money on him. You know, it's going to be... I just don't know what Liverpool do. They put themselves in a bit of a corner here, really. They have put themselves in a little bit of a corner by maybe waiting far too long to sort the midfield area out. Because I commend them where they're due. They got Konate in for a good deal when we needed the defender. So they got Konate in. I mean, the Konate, you know, he's going to be at Liverpool for a long time. 36 million. Great bit of business. No doubt about that. Done that. The forward line, you look at Liverpool when they got all their fit forwards back. It's arguably the best in the league with Man City, probably. Diaz, Darwin, Salah, Bobby, Gakpo, Jota. I mean, that's incredible depth there. So they've done that bit. You know, we've probably got Ramsey in to cover Trent now. So that's someone they're looking at the future. You got Tsimikas and Robbo at left back. You know, you probably need another centre back probably next season or the season after because Virgil ain't going to be there forever. You know, but the midfield area, they just seem to have not looked at. I think our last midfield signing was Thiago. And they've just not.
I think it's simple, Jay. I think it's simple. It's simple this January. You get rid of Naby and you bring someone else in. You get rid of Naby because he's not going to sign, right? He's going to walk for free in 6 months. He's probably going to get injured between now and the end of May. So you can't really rely on him for first team football, right? Just let him go. Just let him go now. Free up the spot and make a signing now. Bring a signing forward and do it in January. If you replace Naby with Caicedo, what you've done there is replace someone that's never available with someone who probably starts week in, week out. And when the likes of Henderson misses like a week or two, or you know, like Thiago maybe misses a game or two or whatever, Curtis is out. You won't care because you'll still see a lineup of Caicedo, Fabinho, and one other. There will always be one other because Caicedo is that guy. He is reliable. Like no one was bothered when Origi was getting injuries and weren't making the bench because he wasn't ever in the starting 11 anyway. Like, and that's the thing. I think it's just quite simple. Just let Naby go. What does he actually offer us at this stage? Like I know it's available now, but the track record's there to stay.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're all saying. I do. You're all right, but
it's a catch-22 though, because we can say I agree with Cav, but it's like we can say get 2, but getting 2, it's like I said, getting 2 doesn't really do anything because, as you said, let's say the 2 that you get, it only just replaces Naby and let's say, who's the other one? We can't even really say Ox because Ox isn't playing central midfield. He hasn't played, but let's just say it replaces him and Ox as an example. You still need someone to cover in for Fabinho. You still need someone better than a Jones because Jones isn't reliable and he's shown that now in the last 18 months that he's just not a reliable individual. That really only leaves Harvey Elliott. Thiago's getting old. Henderson's getting old. Milner still needs to be replaced. Like, you're going to need 3 midfielders at least to come in between now and next summer purely for, yes, we've got the numbers, but we've not got the quality in the deck. Like, that quality isn't really there. But maybe he's looking at it and thinking, Bajcetic, Morton, they're probably going to... I don't know what's going to happen with those 2 next season. So maybe we don't sign 3. We get 2. He brings Morton back in. Morton takes a place up into the first team squad and Baditic gets to kind of float in and around. I don't know, but I'm just more looking at it in the quality. I'd rather have small numbers, but it's all quality. So you're not bothered about, as you said, like who comes in. I don't care if it's only 5 midfielders that you've got. If all 5 are quality, that's perfect. Because then you can just rotate between, throw someone in, every now and again, if they're reliable as well, like a Caicedo kind of thing. I think as you said, Cav, we've just been burnt. All these injuries, players never really reliable, like Ox, Naby, Jones. Like these guys are not reliable players. So that's 3 players I'm looking at and I'm thinking, shit, we need to do something about these guys at some point in time. But none of them really hold any value. Maybe Jones. What do you do with him? Do you sell him? Do you keep him? Catch 22.
I think you loan him.
He's got a new deal as well, didn't
that.
he? So he's got a new deal, Curtis. So I don't know. He looks like he's going to be one for the future. Some may say we gave him a new contract to protect his value, but I actually think Klopp wants him in the team. I actually think he's a player that he's looking to for the future. Maybe he loans him out, like you guys are saying. But at the moment, man, we just need to get some quality players in, man, and get rid of these dead wood that we've got in the team. Naby needs to go. Ox needs to go. Curtis needs to go on loan. Carvalho needs to go on loan. Harvey isn't bad, but at the same time, I still don't know what he offers the team. I'm still unsure what he actually offers us going forward. My preferred position for him is on the wing, but that's up for debate. And then getting some top level midfielders that's willing to go and create goals, willing to go and score some goals, do the defensive side of the game as well, not just be in and around the game. And then obviously Milner, he leaves at the end of the summer. Just give him a coaching role. Let him do something in and around the under 23s, under 18s, whatever.
Why do I feel like he's getting a new deal? Like, why do I have this inkling?
Nah, man, he can't be getting another one again. Nah, he can't be getting another one. No way.
Big up Jam right with the super chat. We also have a factor in homegrown quota as well. Yeah, you have to have the homegrown quota.
You see the homegrown thing?
That's why
you see, if you sign a player who's like under 21, do they have to still be registered?
No, they're not registered till they're 21.
No.
So if we signed, let's say Enzo, how old is Enzo?
21.
Oh, so he would just.
It's not. It's the case that I don't know what the figure is. I think it's like 11 or 12. You have to have as homegrown. So it's not like. I know what you're thinking, G. If you sign these players and they're under 21, it doesn't matter. It's because we haven't actually met the number that we need in the squad. That's what it is.
But don't we? But wouldn't you? Haven't we already classed some of these players, like i.e. Virgil van Dijk would technically class as a homegrown player, as he's been in England since his time at Southampton. So he classes as a homegrown player anyway. Who else is there? Matip. He's been in the country now for the allotted amount of time. There's a lot of these players who've already been in the country and would now class homegrown now because they've been here, even though they are from a foreign, like Holland and wherever.
I don't know for sure. Maybe someone in the chat will be able to.
Yeah, someone in the chat.
But I think it's not. I think they were too old when they came to the country. I think that's the issue. I think you have to be trained by an English club for 3 years below a certain
I've got
age.
I've got it here.
If you go
Out of the 23 senior players, 7 are classed as homegrown. They are captain Jordan Henderson, James Milner, Trent, Nat Phillips, Joe Gomez, Ox, and Queven Kelleher.
Did you say Milner, Jay, on that? Sorry.
Yeah, Milner.
So Milner goes, and I think Kelleher's probably going to go in the summer. So
we're going to get the Kelleher thing in a bit, but it's that is why Man City kept Scott Carson as third choice goalkeeper because of the homegrown quota. So they kept in third spot in the goalkeeper list, knowing that he's never going to play, so they can go and get other players to get that will play, the other foreign players. So it's clever what they're doing. Liverpool done the same sort of thing with other players as well, like Reece Williams and things like that, Nat Phillips and all that. It's because that's why they stay and go on loan. We don't actually sell them. That's why we don't sell a lot of our homegrown players, because we need, even if they go on loan, they're still counted as your homegrown, you know. So that's why we don't sell any of them. But maybe Klopp's looking at the future. Look, I said this earlier as well, that Klopp and Pep Linders now, I think, are heavily in charge of the transfers now. Because if you listen to what Julian Ward said, Julian Ward came into the job, took over, and then a few months later he says he wants to leave at the end of the year because the job is not what it was, what he was promised when he first started. Jurgen Klopp and Pep Linders have been. I've read it in a lot of people's on Fleck and stuff like that. That Pep Linders and Klopp has a lot of say now in transfers.
As they should.
The gakpo deal was all Pep Linders. I will say one thing about Pep Linders, and I've said this for a while. I think no matter what people might think of Pep Linders as a coach and all that, I think he has got an eye for talent. And if he's got an eye for talent, I'm all right with that. Don't forget, Pep Linders was Jurgen Klopp's scout before he became coach. And he scouted the likes of Robbo and players like that for Liverpool. So I think he has got an eye for talent. His coaching methods and whatever, that can be up for debate. But I think his eye for talent is there. Mm-hmm. And if Klopp and Pep Linders are in charge of the transfer thing now, for me, I think what Klopp needs to do is start trusting the youngsters a little bit more. Start trusting the youngsters a little bit more, because if you've got Stefan Iniesta there, right, and he's a talented little player. For me, he's a professional footballer. He's too good for the under-23s. I think you keep him in the squad now. I don't see the reason why Stefan should go back into the under-23s. He should train with the first team and be part of the squad all season now. When I've seen him play, he's a professional footballer. He can play at this level. You know, give him time, breed him in slowly, because at the moment, would you rather have Stefan play in your midfield or Oxlade-Chamberlain?
Yeah, midfield, probably Stefan at this stage. But then Ox ain't really a mid-class.
It would depend on the game, because that City game made me think, he can't play at that level. But Ox, I would trust a lot more in that game.
I mean, to be fair, City, it's a struggle for anyone to play against. But
no, but like if we're just looking at it just face value, even the Aston Villa game, I would have said I'd still prefer to play Ox in the midfield because of the type of game.
Games, but just part of the squad, ain't it? Just part.
100%.
Yeah, part of the squad, that's fine.
Yeah, part of the squad, I'm fine with. He ain't going to start full games all the time because he's a young lad, growing his. But when you look at him and people like Ben Doak and stuff like that, if they're too good for the under-23s, just leave them in the squad. It's not like we've got quality in that midfield area that is surpassing them, that they can't ever touch pitch because the quality in front of them is too good. I think Klopp has to start maybe trusting the youngsters a little bit. With Ramsey, now what I've heard about Ramsey, because everyone's asking me where's Ramsey? Yes, he picked up a little niggle, he's all right now. But Ramsey's the same with Robbo. Have you heard Klopp talk about Robbo properly when he first signed? So when Klopp first signed Robbo, when they first signed him, Robbo weren't playing for a while, was he? He did get in the team. Why we bought him anyway if he's not playing? And then Robbo apparently was knocking on Klopp's door saying, when do I play? And Klopp was getting annoyed with him and told him, no, you don't know how to defend the way I want you to defend yet. Once you've learnt that, you will play. And once Robbo learnt it, worked his arse off in training, learnt the way Klopp wants him to play, he got in the team. Same with Fabinho. Fabinho came into Liverpool, played a couple of games, looked disastrous, came out of it. Same thing, Klopp told him, you've got to play this way in my system, you've got to learn it. And once you've learnt it, you're in the team. And I think it's going to be the same with Ramsey. So once Ramsey's learnt the way Klopp wants him to defend, people might not like it, but he's the manager. If he wants it that way, then that's the way it has to be. So I'm all right with that. But I think
you will see it.
Yeah, you will.
It's only been like, sorry, I was just going to mention, like, I think for Carvalho, especially over the mid-season break, I think he was having some issues with growing pains and things like that. Same as what Stevie sort of kept him out of a few things. And you got to forget, we're only 2 games back, and we've played Man City and then Villa. And Villa, look, Man City, you probably weren't going to play because it's one of the toughest teams you can play in Europe. And then Villa, he brought on Gomez because in that game we needed some defensive solidity just to see out the game, you know. So he's not really been right for him to come and make an appearance yet, but I think he will over the next remainder of the season. I think he will be there. Maybe not as a star, but if the game is going right, and as in we're ahead, then I think you will see Ramsey coming on for Trent. I think you'll see him more and more.
Yeah, very great. Big up. Jamrock with the super chat again. 7 homegrown is why we only have 24. Minimum should be 8. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But that being said, then Jay, I mean, I take your point on the youngsters and stuff. I mean, if you're saying that's Bajcetic in the midfield, going into next season, what would be your ideal midfield then? What would your options be? Just running through the names.
Oh fuck it. I have no. This is what I don't know Liverpool anymore. So
because I mean, if we're saying Jude and Caicedo, I mean, I'm saying Caicedo, but let's say you guys have another name, Jude and Caicedo, right? Then you've got Thiago, Fab, Henderson. I think so that's 5. I think we're in agreement with, and then you got Elliot, Jones, and then you got Bajcetic, assuming Naby, Ox, and Milner leave. Have I missed anybody else?
No.
Tell me out here, chat. Have I missed anybody? But that's 8.
Arthur will probably leave, won't he? So
yeah, screw that guy.
Yeah.
So that's 8 players, right? And let's assume in the Premier League and the Champions League, Thiago, Caicedo, and Jude start, or maybe Fab, because neither of them are a 6. Yeah, Curtis as well, so 9. So let's say Thiago starts on the left, you've got Fab in the 6, and you've got Jude on the right, and then you've got Caicedo, Henderson, Jones, Curtis, Bajcetic all on the bench. I know there will be injuries. Did that not sound like a lot to you? And I know Enzo's going to tell me we're going to compete for all these competitions and stuff, but this is what the point I was trying to make earlier is like, are we just like wanting to get like 3 midfielders because we're like, we need to cover. I don't think we need 3. We just need to replace what we've got now with more reliability, because that's a lot of midfielders for 3 spots.
But look at the midfielders that you named. Like outside of, I think you said Thiago, Fabinho, I think you said Jude as well as like your first 3, for example. Then Caicedo. The rest of them, it's about the quality. That's my issue. It isn't even about the number. Like I said, I'd prefer to cut the numbers. Like we could have 6, 5. Like I couldn't even care less. It's the quality in that. Like obviously, of course, you're gonna have your main 3
beyond. So Thiago stays. Obviously, it's Thiago, right?
Yeah.
Jude and Caicedo, say they come in. They might not be the names, but we're saying 2 signings, right? Bajcetic we keep around, I believe. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't keep him. That's the thing. I'd get him out on loan because it would just be pointless if we keep him around for these 5-minute, 10-minute kind of games. If what Jamie's saying, he doesn't want to put him back into the under 23. Remember, he's young. He's super young. Like, he's not even like.
Gee, do you not think that he's better than Morton then? Because I think he is. And if Morton's going to come back in, he's going to hold his position.
Morton holds more experience, so Klopp's going to trust Morton more. Whether I think he's better, that remains to be seen. I haven't seen enough. Like we haven't seen enough of Bajcetic to really say that. We've seen a few glimpses, but we can't really. I wouldn't hang my hat on Bajcetic being better than Morton. Morton is more experienced. Klopp seems to like him. We know how Klopp works. I'm trying to just think more like Klopp. Forget even what I think anymore, because that just gets thrown out the window now. Like I just try to think, what would Klopp? How is he kind of doing it? And to me, Morton's just going to come back into the team straight away. Next season, Morton's into the first team. There's not even going to be a question about anything.
I'm just going
else.
by the eye test on it. Morton,
of course, yeah. Eye test,
Bajcetic looks like he can actually play in multiple positions and do it well. For his age, he looks well ahead of where Morton is. And what's Morton now? 2021, and Bajcetic is what 17.
What? So just running through it then. Fab, what's your opinion on Fab?
But yeah, go on.
So Fab's there next season, or
yeah. I think
yeah.
Oh yeah. If no one wants to come in for a bid, then I wouldn't. Obviously,
a well-rested Fab is a better Fab. I think with Fabinho, the man has been running to the ground for 4 years. That's basic. He's never been rotated, has he? Because we've never had rotation there. So, you see that with the likes of a lot of players like Kante for Chelsea. When he's fit, he plays all the time, and you can see that starting to affect him a little bit. Now he's picking up niggling injuries and stuff like that. It can affect you. And Fabinho's one of them things that Fabinho don't rely on his physical way he plays. He relies on his brain, if that makes sense. So he's very good at reading the game. When you're good at reading the game, that's all from your brain, yeah. And when you're knackered, when you're tired, and you're overworked and stuff like that, the brain don't work properly. So if that's not working properly, your body's not able to take over with the physical side of it. Like Fabinho's not really that kind of player. That's why I think while he's been rested, he went to the World Cup, got a suntan, came back. He's been pretty rested and he's looked better. And that will help him in the long run because he's a very good defensive midfielder. He reads the game really well. He's starting to get more involved in the games now because he has been rested. So, and he's doing what we've always wanted Fabinho to do the last few games. He's making dirty fouls. I want Fabinho to do that. Every class DM I know in world football is a dirty bastard. All right, and you've got to be. Rodri. Look what Rodri does on the pitch. Yeah, he's an excellent midfielder, but look at the fouls he makes. Gets in people's faces. Because Casemiro's the same. Fernandinho used to be the same. And that's what I think. Fabinho used to do that as well when he weren't tired. Now he's doing it again. And I'm happy with Fab. So as long as Fab... Look, I've been saying it for a while. Liverpool needs 7 quality midfielders. I think that's all Liverpool need. 7 quality midfielders.
Yeah. 7 is a good number.
And all 7 are first teamers. Right? Look at, your top teams in world football. That's around what you need. 7 quality midfielders. All of them around the first team. And then you've got your youngsters, that can come in and out and learn their trade, as backups, which the way it should be worked. And for me, I've been saying it for ages now, and I'll continue saying it. Henderson, Thiago, and Fabinho are Klopp's 3. And if you get 3 younger versions of that, that's 6. And then you got your Elliots to go on, his 7th, and so forth. So I think that's what Klopp's looking at. Look at everyone we're interested in. Look at everyone we're interested in. Caicedo. Caicedo is like a young version of Fabinho. Declan Rice is a young version of Hendo. And we was interested in that Enzo Fernandez. And Enzo Fernandez is a bit like Thiago. So, they're the players we're looking at. And I can see what Klopp has in mind. Klopp believes in his system. If he believes in his system, then if he believes in his system, you need the right players to fit that system. I've always said it, and I say it now. I love Thiago. I love Thiago as a footballer. Does Thiago suit Liverpool's system under Jurgen Klopp? Because we was arguably, me and G spoke about this. We're the best team in world football, right? With a midfield of Hendo, Milner, Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Henderson, Ox at the time, Shaqiri, these kind of players, right? Because they work the system so well, we're tremendous. Now, with signings of Thiago, it looks like we're not playing because Thiago don't suit the system we were playing when we were successful. So you've come away from that. And when we came away from that, you notice we changed the way we played as well. We started playing slow possession football, from the back, slowly, progressing up the pitch slowly, Before that, the midfield used to win the ball back, to block everything out from the back 4, just give the ball to the attackers straight away and just play that sort of football. And we totally changed the way we play. And
I don't think that's down to Thiago, though. No,
it's not down to Thiago, but the signing of Thiago doesn't suit the way Liverpool played under Jurgen Klopp when we won the league and Champions League.
I hear what you're saying, but I think Thiago is so good on and off the ball, and he can do both the attack in terms of his passing ability and things, and defensively is good. Helping Robbo out, we always see that tackle where he sort of comes from behind and manages to wrap his leg around him. I actually think, although he probably wasn't this player in his, at Bayern and Barca and stuff, we've sort of turned him into this all-round midfielder. He said, didn't he, Klopp taught him how to run. I think he is. I just think just circumstance around him has made it seem like he's changed the way we play. But actually, remember when he come in, he was a bit off it to begin with, weren't he? Getting yellow cards like every game and stuff, like missed timing challenges and all that sort of stuff. But then he very quickly sort of found his feet. But then we had the injury hit season. And then obviously we had a good campaign last year and obviously almost won 4 trophies. And then this season we've had another injury hit season. So I don't think Thiago coming in necessarily changed our approach. I just think everybody else around him is to be honest, let the squad down, not Thiago. I think if you'd have took out any of them 3 midfielders during our best years, right? So if our midfield was Gini, Fab, Henderson, take any of them out and replace them with Thiago, the team improves. Like he improves that team. It's just sure. Like I say, it's sure. Just.
I'm not sure. So everyone said we challenged for the quad with Thiago. Yeah, but we only won the FA Cup League. We're at Thiago. We won the FA. We won the Premier League and Champions League. So
no, we can't say that. We can't say that. Can't say that.
No. But what Jamie's saying is truthful though. Like we can't. We keep. I feel like we do a lot of forcing with players. Like we look at them like this, which we should do because Thiago is a baller, like 100%. Like he himself is a very good footballer, and everything Cav said is blatantly facts in terms of like him being like this kind of like good player and stuff like that. But you have to look at the way we play with Thiago and how we played without him. If you're saying that Thiago, let's say we replaced Fabinho with Thiago, do we get the same team in that team? I don't think so. If we replace Henderson with Thiago, now this is Henderson of 1920, by the way. Like if we replace that Henderson with Thiago, do we get the same impact? I don't know. Like I feel like he's a great option. He would have been a sick option to have like on the bench. Take that back. Not even on the bench as like a rotation with someone, but that team worked for everything that Klopp needed the team to do. And for me, when you're looking at the team now, that's why the midfield is so like what it is now. We could talk about injuries, but the reality is, look what Klopp has done. He's literally, because of how the team is now and how it's performing and other players coming into it and players getting older and declining and all this kind of stuff, because it's not that same midfield. What's happened? He bought a right winger. He's had to put him centre midfield. He got a left winger in from the academy. He's put him centre midfield. Nothing is working for him because he's almost like he's trying to find a formula that's going to work like what it used to. Nothing is working now anymore. So everything we're seeing now is literally just because of that. So that's why I think, yes, Thiago is fantastic. I think he's a baller. But if Liverpool are trying to play the way that they were playing in that winning 2 years or whatever period, you almost need to get someone in like that same midfield, and then you get back to, then you can play that same way. At the moment, Liverpool cannot play that way. We've seen it every single game this season, even the Bournemouth game, we're conceding chances. Like it's that can't happen. Like, I'm sorry, but eventually that will catch up with you, and we're sitting in 6th because of it. So it's like, yes, we're going to have games like the Villa game. We're going to win 3-1. But look how many chances we conceded. We're going to have games like the Man City game where we lose 3-2, but we could have easily have drawn that game, but Man City could have scored 10. So it's like, we're always going to be in this kind of to and fro. We're conceding goals every single game. Like the midfield weren't doing that before because it was working the way that Klopp wanted it to work. At the moment, it just doesn't work. Like it's just not working. Like nothing is kind of thing. That's not on Thiago, by the way. I'm not saying, oh my days, we bought Thiago and he's just ruined the whole thing. Hell no. Like he's added some quality into that team. But I just think that Klopp has tried to move away from that style of play. And because he's tried to move away from that style of play, it's then hindered him in the long run. And you're seeing it now. Like the midfield just can't function whatever way he wants. I don't know how he wants it to play, but it's just not working. Nothing seems to. 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2.
Not just midfield, though. Not just midfield. Mane and Prime Bobby were key to pressing and starting, defend. They were the first line of defense, really. So I know we talk about the midfield, and I do agree with you. I think everything that people are saying is right, even though we have slightly different views on it. I don't think you can underestimate. Like, I remember watching games, and we watch if we're on Monday night. I'd watch Monday Night Football prior, and Jamie and Gary Neville, when they do their analysis, they were waxing lyrical about how Salah and Mane pressed the forwards, and the midfield just kind of needed to fill gaps, and just if it got beyond the forwards, they'd just be over there and be in the second phase of pressing and stuff. The forwards won back the ball so often, and we don't really have that now. As hardworking as Diaz and Nunez and stuff are, Bobby's dropped off a little bit in that sense. They aren't. I don't want to say as intelligent and insult them, but they aren't as intelligent in pressing as Mane and Bobby were. Them guys as a three got it off to an absolute T. I mean, how many goals did you see where we just won the ball back high up the pitch and we were instantly then on the back four? It was 1-2 pass and we were in on goal. You don't really see it now. And that's where the build-up's coming up from the back, because the press isn't the same. And I do think part of that's because of the midfield. The fact that we can't have a consistent team every week because of injuries, but also because the forward line's different. Let's face it, Mane, when he was playing on the left wing for us, was probably the best left winger in the world. Like, Diaz is very good, but he's not that. There's levels to it, isn't there?
You're all correct. You're all correct what I'm saying. And everyone in the live chat, Thiago is my favourite midfielder at Liverpool. I love Thiago. He's Liverpool's best midfielder. What I'm trying to get at, right? I'll put it to you like this, yeah? Man City have bought Haaland, right? Did Man City look like a better team this season than they did last season? No. City have got an awful defence now because they've changed the way they have to play to adapt Haaland into their team, right? And I don't think City look as good as they did last season. I know some Man City fans have even said that themselves. They're not playing nowhere near as well as they did last season. They just got this killer up front who is just getting the goals and getting them over the line in games. Yeah. But in a way, they actually played better football last season and looked like a far better football team last season. So that's what I'm saying. It's sometimes, but City are only going to get better because they got tremendous football players that will adapt. And eventually this time next year, they'll probably be unbeatable. But you've got to adapt, and Liverpool have to adapt. You couldn't keep playing the same style under Klopp. I get it. I understand it. And I love Thiago. I really do. But I would say we played our best football when we played better football in the years we didn't have Thiago than we do now with Thiago. And I'm not saying that Thiago's a shit player and we almost won the quadruple. I get that. But the word is almost.
I agree. We were better. We were better in them years when Thiago wasn't here. You are correct. Of course you are, because we're sitting in sixth now, and at the time we were sitting in first and second. So that's facts exactly what you're saying. I just think that we're not as good as we were then. Has nothing to do with Thiago. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just I think it's nothing to do with Thiago himself. It's just
exactly.
Football's all about systems now. Yeah, football is all about systems. We know that. Creativity in football is not as what it used to be. Players get criticised now if they do a bit of skill. It's on the front pages of newspapers and stuff like that. You can't be creative anymore in what you want to do. You have to play in a system, because winning now is so important. Winning's always been important, but winning now is life and death in every single game for a manager. So it's all about systems now. And that's why I always say, if you've got the perfect system for your football team, you don't always need the perfect players, world-class perfect players to fit that system. Look at Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba is a fantastic world-class talent, yeah? No matter what people might think of the man, it's a world-class talent. He couldn't do it at Man United because he didn't suit the system. He might not even suited English football, full stop, right? So that doesn't mean he's a shit player. It just means that the system never fitted him. The lifestyle never fit. All this sort of thing never fitted him. Doesn't mean he's a shit footballer at all, And I look at Liverpool and thinking, if Klopp believes in his system, which I think he does, I don't think Klopp's changing any kinds of systems or anything like that. Everyone thinks he's going to go to this 4-2-3-1 or 4-2-4 or stuff like that. He did it because we didn't have the players, right? And as soon as players come back, he's gone back to 4-3-3. At times, he might go to 4-4-2 in a game because we got the personnel up front to do that. But he wants to play 4-3-3. Robbo and Trent still do what Robbo and Trent do. You know, there's no change up there. So he obviously believes in his system still. But the problem is, if you got a Ferrari and you've put a Lada engine in it, you know, it's not going to do what it should be doing. And at the moment with Liverpool, they've got a system that Klopp believes in, but because the midfield is not doing what he wants it to do, the system can't work properly. Then that's up to Klopp if he wants to change the system. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying with Thiago, quality player, my favourite Liverpool player, best Liverpool midfielder, but does he suit the system Jurgen Klopp wants to play? That's all I'm asking.
Just a quick one, Jamie, on that point. Sorry, G.
No.
We were. You're saying that we played better football when we didn't have Thiago. I think that's not right, because with Thiago in the team, we had to change the system that allowed us to go and challenge on four fronts. We've never done that. The midfield that we had before and the way that we used to play is not sustainable. So you can't just have man running around in midfield chasing everything forever. Doesn't work. So I think buying a player that can keep that ball, move the ball around, allow us to control the midfield without having to run around a lot was great for us. And then we challenged for the FA Cup, the Carling Cup, Carabao Cup, the Champions League and the Premier League with him in that system. So I don't think we should ever go back to let's just get runners in the midfield again, because then what, in another 3 years we're going to be complaining about legs gone again? Or do we get in quality that can hold on to the ball and let the ball do the work is what I'm trying to get at.
What Man City do? That's the difference between us and Man City. And that's why look at this
system.
Yeah, but they have quality. They do have quality in depth, but at a point in time, they didn't have any more than us. It's just that their style of football weren't as strenuous on the legs, and they were willing to rotate.
I was going to say they don't have more than us. The problem is their quality is way better than ours. That's the problem that we will always have over a City. So where you've got what's his name, Elliot, Jones. I'm going to say Arthur Melo because technically he's a part of the team, so I'll add him in as well. But he's not really a part of the team. But Ox, Naby, and stuff like this. Look at that quality in comparison to the quality that they're bringing on. They're always going to be ahead. When you can rotate between Bernardo Silva's, your Rodriguez, even Rico Lewis. Like these last two games that I've seen him play, he looks better to me than Bajcetic.
He's a player.
I've seen like he might not actually be better than Bajcetic. I just think the system that Pep's got over there is so fluid. It doesn't really, unless you're really crap, which they don't seem to have any of those players anyway. Unless you're really crap, anyone can come into that team and it just flows because everyone knows the job that they've got to do and blah, blah, blah. I always feel like with Klopp, the reason why we notice it a lot more with certain players like a Bajcetic or like an Elliot when he first kind of come in, or Curtis Jones, Carvalho, we notice it a lot more is because of the style that we're playing. That style is so strenuous for this team that if you're not at optimum level, you just notice that there's a drop off straight away. That might not be their fault. Do you know what I mean? Like they might actually be good at what they're supposed to do, but we need you to be at optimum level. Not to say that City don't require their players to be at optimum level. Of course they do, but the system and style and the fluidity of which they play is so conducive for these players to just come in. There isn't really like when I'm watching the other day against Leeds, like the whole system is like they're playing three at the back. You've got your centre backs going wide. You've got two central midfielders and four attackers. But you wouldn't think that. You'd think they're playing 4-3-3 or whatever, but they're not actually doing that. Everything's just so fluid. But we don't, in my opinion, have that level of fluidity. It is quite rigid, but everyone knows what their roles are. When everyone's at their highest, like optimum level, of course, we look fantastic. You know what I mean? You've got Trent, you've got Robbo bombing down the wings, you've got the midfield working, you've got the attack doing what they do and stuff like that. Like, it looks good. but when they're at the optimum level, as soon as there's a drop off in quality, bang, you just notice it. Even if it's just one player, you just bang, you just notice it. And I feel like that is why I was mentioning about getting in the midfielders. We can have less midfielders, that's fine. Get rid of whoever you want to get rid of, but just have quality in that, so that when you're taking off your Fabs or your Thiagos or your Caicedos or Judes, you're replacing them, obviously not like for like, because you're not going to get that, but there shouldn't be such a drop off. We shouldn't notice a drop off, if I'm being honest. They should just be able to come in, do the same kind of job. Yeah, different qualities and stuff like that. That's fine. Of course, we want every player to be a little bit different. Like Mahrez isn't the same as Grealish, or isn't the same as Sterling, or isn't the same as Jesus, but they all did more or less the same kind of job, but just in their own kind of unique way. And that's what I think is just our problem at the moment, is that, yeah, Harvey Elliott might not be everyone's cup of tea, but he does a job. But then you will notice, once we get in midfielders, Harvey's going to be sitting on the bench. Like, he'll be the first ones to sit on the bench. We all know it. He's going to hit that bench quicker than anybody. That's not because he's shit or anything. It's just because there is a difference between Harvey and a Jude or an Enzo or Caicedo or Thiago, Fabinho. Like, there's going to be that, but there shouldn't be too much of a drop off. And that's where I'm just kind of struggling with Liverpool a bit, is that I'm just noticing too much drop offs when these players kind of come in at the moment.
Yeah, no, good point. It is a good point. Yeah. I've often thought that when you see players, like you see a Man City lineup and they're like, oh, we've rested De Bruyne today. Like, we've rested Bernardo Silva. And you're just like, how? And everyone jumps to the fact that they've got quality and depth, which, don't get me wrong, they do. But the level below their first team level is still very good. Like, if you see you see Gundogan in there instead of like a Bernardo Silva or whatever, you're like, you don't bat an eyelid, because you know he's good enough, like, to do a job. Like, you see Rico Lewis has started a couple of games for them now. Like, he looks sound. Like, no one's looking at it going, oh, Kyle Walker's not there. That's going to be a big drop-off. You're like,
exactly.
It's like, he does a job. I do often think that
with Rico Lewis, though, you can put someone like him in a Man City team, because of the quality of their whole 11. He's not going to stand out like he's, you can put in youth players. Yeah, exactly.
That, and the fact that, and I'm probably really dumbing this down now, so I don't wish to offend the one Man City fan we have in the chat. But their system is the first and foremost. Pep says to them, keep the ball. So as long as, if you're Rico Lewis and you go in that team, don't give the ball away. Just keep the ball, no matter what. You'll do a job, and the team is good enough. There's enough quality around them to go and win a game. And I think that's the difference between us and City, is like, as long they can go out there as if you're a replacement starter for Man City and just do a basic job, position and awareness, right? Make sure you're running into the areas you should, depending on what position you play, and keep the ball. There's enough quality there. Whereas with Liverpool, every player has to do so much more. They have to recognise so much more of what the system is, that the drop-off is massive. Like, you couldn't, if you took Trent out of our team and replaced him with another player, you might be better defensively. We've seen it with Gomez, but the attack would massively change. The same goes for Robbo. Do you know what I mean? The same goes for our midfielders we've seen through the injuries. If you stick a striker in there, the whole attack changes from when we had Firmino. So you're dead right, unless no two players are the same. And once you take one out and drop another one in our system, it does seem like it has a ripple effect across the side. Like, the whole system ends up being a bit distorted. Man City, I don't know, but it just looks as though they can kind of make changes in their team quite seamlessly, and it has less of an impact. And I think that does come down to the style of play that they play with.
Because we can't sit here and act like Man City have got, like, look, we big them up, but I'm not going to sit here and overgas them and say, oh yeah, they've got this world class. They don't have that many world class players. I'll be honest, in my personal opinion, I'm not looking at a lot of their players and thinking they're world class. De Bruyne, Haaland,
Rodri.
Sorry, Rodri. I forgot about him.
Did you see Don Robbie say that De Bruyne ain't world class?
Did he?
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
I know what you're saying, though, because he doesn't do it on the world stage. We had this argument when we did our world class top 10. Yeah, what is world class, right? In the Messi Ronaldo debate we did, and everyone was saying, like, because I said De Bruyne doesn't really do it in the international stage. Stevie G never really did it that great in the international stage. but that doesn't mean they're not world-class players, because international football is almost like a different sporting sometimes. Because you can be the best player in your nation, but everyone else around you is horseshit, right? So if that's the case, if that's the case, you can't produce what you do at club level because you've got better players around you.
Look at Lewandowski for Poland.
Yeah, world-class striker, one of the greatest
World-class
of his
striker.
generation. Can't do international football because
I've got something to say on him.
Got
something to say on him. You just reminded me. Did you see Klopp's comments about when he was training Lewandowski? He said he couldn't. He said we did training individual shooting sessions with Lewandowski when he first got him at Dortmund. He said the guy did half an hour shooting sessions. He said he didn't finish one, and he was talking about Nunez at the time.
He compared
like, the guy couldn't finish for his life, and now look at him. So anybody that's like, looking for a bit of hope that Nunez is going to come good, go and dig out that quote, and it might make
you know that comparison where it's in the quote on Twitter. I think I saw G put LOL about. Right. Because he said he compared him to Lewandowski. What everyone's got to remember is in Lewandowski's first season for Borussia Dortmund, he only scored 8 goals.
Yeah, he couldn't finish anything.
He came over from Poland.
I think that's what Jurgen Klopp. To be fair, Jurgen Klopp bought Lewandowski, coached Lewandowski. Yeah. So I'm going to give Klopp the benefit of the doubt here. If he says he reminds me of him, there's no better player, there's no better man alive who probably can tell you that than Jurgen himself. So, and he scored 8 goals in his first season with Borussia Dortmund. So, if
Nunez has already got more than that.
Yeah, I mean, Nunez has got more.
Sorry, I found a way of talking about Nunez again. Sorry.
We're getting we'll get
I'll always take that, Kev, mate. Anytime you want to, bro. I'm willing to listen, bro.
We're going to get a Darwin.
Honestly, right? I love Liverpool, and I've never fanboyed over anyone. Like, Torres leaving killed me. Suarez leaving was upsetting, right? But I have never, ever been fanboying someone quite like I do with Nunez. Honestly, I have so much.
But do you think the reason why you do that is purely because of the negativity towards him?
Yeah,
do you think because with Suarez, for example, no one was getting on to Suarez, but with Suarez, unless you were blind or you never owned a TV, you could tell that this guy was a very, very, very good player. You might not have known what he was going to do, but you just knew. Torres the same. Like Nunez, you don't know that he's going to be what you want him to be. We just have this hope.
I know.
I know.
How do you know?
I know.
Trust me.
Me and Enz are backing him every time.
Yeah, I got to back Darwin as well. I love Darwin. I mean,
I'm not going to hang my hat on Darwin just yet. I'm going to wait for that one.
I look at Darwin.
He's special, bro. We just have to wait, man. Trust me.
Special is the right word. It's a different type of special, but yeah, that is the right word. It's the right word.
I look at Darwin, and I look at Darwin's attributes. Yeah, I look at Darwin's attributes: his pace, his athleticism, and his movement. That there's arguably no one better in the Premier League with them 3 attributes, right? Yeah, you look at strikers in the Premier League: pace, movement, and athleticism. How many strikers in the Premier League are as good as that as Darwin is? Not many. If Darwin could finish, right? No one would be saying anything. He'd be up there as one of the best.
That's the point, though, Jamie.
He'd be up there with Haaland. There's no doubt about that. He'd be up there with Haaland. And I've said it for a while now. Darwin Nunez is better in Liverpool's team than without him right now because he does cause issues. Like Pac-Man would say like that, but Pac-Man, you've got to admit, his pace is unreal, his athleticism is unreal, and his movement is extremely good. That's why he gets all these one-on-ones. If his movement was dog shit, he wouldn't get any of these one-on-ones. He gets in the box all the time, and his pace to burn people is unreal, right? So he's got all that.
Well.
He's got all that in his game. So I can see why Liverpool bought him. If you look at them 3 attributes alone and what Liverpool want in forward players, you look at all the forward players Liverpool buying and bought under Jurgen Klopp. I can understand why Liverpool bought Darwin Nunez. He's just got to complete his finishing. Look, if Darwin Nunez scores 15 goals this season, at the end of the season, he scores 15 goals, I'm perfectly all right with it because I remember when
What's he on now?
I think he's on 9.
9.
So
Yeah, 6 more goals. Okay, yeah.
I remember when
You
we
should get
bought Darwin, I went on a lot of Liverpool YouTube channels. We're all talking about Darwin, and everyone said, I'll be happy if Darwin gets 15 goals. Everyone. So if he gets 15 goals, he's met everyone's expectations. So
It's not met my expectations, but yeah, I hear you.
You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I mean,
What's your
you probably heard the
expectation,
same
G?
thing.
I thought, obviously, things have changed, so I had to change my expectations. I thought we were buying a striker, someone who was profound at hitting the back of the net on a consistent basis. Nunez has proven that he isn't that. What he is, though, is someone who offers you crazy level of chaos. Basically, everything that Jamie said, that's what he offers you, but he is not consistent at scoring goals. That is my only thing. And when I say that, everyone's going to say, "Oh, yeah, but he's got goals," and of course he's got goals. But let's be honest and let's actually look at it. The amount of chances that this guy has had, he should probably be on a lot more goals than he's on at this current moment in time. That is my only issue with him. And eventually, I don't know when, eventually in certain games, that will come to hinder us. In certain games, it will hurt us. It hurt us against Manchester City.
Look at the chances he's had. If the chances that he's had, he's mostly creating for himself. And then, because what we're doing, I don't know if everyone on the panel is thinking this way, but we're comparing Nunez to what Haaland's doing. He's a freak. Let's just take him out of the picture. But look at the level of chances that Haaland's getting compared to the chances that Nunez is getting. It's a far difference, bro. Haaland's not running from the halfway line and getting these chances every game. He's getting tap-ins continuously in every game. And that's where he's scoring his goals. We do not have the level of midfielders that's able to create those chances where it's just across the box or just inside the box and he's allowed him to shoot. The guy's either running the length of the pitch or running half a pitch, cutting inside, shooting, or he has to run from the halfway line onto through balls and then trying to finish it. It's never an opportunity where someone just, here you go, on a plate throughout the whole game. Great cross into the box. Here you go. Nice header. Bang. Here you go. Keeper's at the net. I'll square it to you. He's not getting those chances. Mm-hmm. So I think we have to kind of look at it that way as well.
Yeah. No. And just to add to that, right? Even if like Nunez isn't a 1-in-1 goal scorer, right? He takes 1 out of 3 chances. I would take that with Nunez. The reason being is because most strikers say they create 5 chances in a game. This guy will create 10. So if he's a 1 in 3, he's actually better than a 1 in 2 because he will make so many more chances. So come the end of the 90 minutes, this guy will have a goal. He will have 2 goals. Whereas a lot of other strikers, they might be better, they might be more clinical, but they'll only end up with 1 goal, maybe none, because the team haven't created enough for him. And that's where I back Nunez so much.
Can I ask you a question? If we swap Haaland with us, if we swap Haaland with us, just for you, we swap Haaland and put him in this Liverpool team and put Nunez in the Man City team, do you think Haaland would do as well as he's doing now?
No, I don't think he would score as many goals as he's got because we don't create as much as Man City does.
So what I will say about Darwin, Darwin's all-round game might be better than Haaland's, right? Because Haaland can't play on the left wing and as a striker. Darwin can get the ball from the halfway line and just go past people. He can, that's not saying that he's a better footballer than Haaland, by the way. Haaland is a better footballer, but Haaland is the greatest finisher of his generation. He's the best finisher in the world football. If it's in front of him, he's going to score. Yes, he'll miss the odd one here and there because he's human. Everyone misses it here and there, but he's going to score most of his. He's going to score most of his chances. But Darwin's all-round game is fantastic. That's why I weren't shocked when he actually got man of the match against Aston Villa by Andy Townsend and a few other people as well, other broadcasters gave him man of the match because I could understand what they were saying. Because him and Mo Salah, take him and Mo Salah, right? We let Salah get away with a lot of misses because he finishes a lot, But Salah misses a lot of one-on-ones, right? That's not
he did in the last game.
Yeah, Mo missed a one-on-one in the last game. He misses a lot of one-on-ones, but because he scores so many, we let him off with that because we know Mo's going to get 20 by the end of the season. So it's like, all right, it's fine, Darwin's brand new. He's out the wrapper, you know what I mean? So because he's missing right now, we haven't got a back catalogue to go back on him and go, it's all right because he's going to get 20 at the end of the season.
Yeah,
that's not too
facts.
bad. He hasn't got that back catalogue like Moisés yet. Give him a year's time. If he's next 2 or 3 years and he is getting 20 goals a season, but still missing shitloads, all that hype about him missing so much will go down because he'll have a back catalogue again. Look, he still gets 20 a season, so it's okay. And everything else he does for the team, you know, with his energy, his pace, his endless running, he's stretching the opposition. Look, you ask defenders right now what they think of Darwin Nunez. I bet they don't want to play against him.
Of course, not 100%. He's a player. Why would you?
Yeah, exactly. He turns them around. He stretches them. So, yeah, I think that's what we got to just deal with at Darwin. And we've got to remember, I think Haaland and Darwin might be the same age, but Haaland's development is miles ahead of Darwin's. I think Darwin's only been a professional footballer for 3 years. He's only actually been a professional footballer for 3 years.
He looks like he's only been a professional.
Yeah. So you can see that he's raw, you know, and give him time, man. Give him time. You know, it's the price. I understand. Oh, you bought him for 65 million euros. It's a lot of money. But as we keep saying with like players, like if they're good over the 6 or 7 years that you have them, right, the price is irrelevant. Don't go on the price after 6 months. Go on the price after 6 years. The 6 years of his contract. I remember when we bought Jordan Henderson for 22 million, right? Everyone was going, why you bought? That's a waste of money. 22 million Jordan Henderson. He's been a 12-year servant at Liverpool Football Club. And a very
what I will say,
servant.
but Jordan was crap when he came. Yeah. He was.
But he got better
and
better. He got better and better.
Speak to a lot of the English guys, English players. He wasn't that crap, G. Speak to a lot of the players around his age. They'll tell you Henderson was techie.
Yo, did you not see him on what was that Soccer AM show where they?
I mean, none of it. He's
in the techers. I mean, that is, look, Grealish 100 million is a bigger flop, but it is. There's no doubt about it. And now you're hearing.
You know what? In saying that, though, a lot of Man City fans wouldn't even say that though, because they say that he does the job that Pep wants him to do in the team. We just call him a flop because of the stats.
That's the problem. I don't think he does do the job that Pep wants to do in the team. I'm
not saying he does, by the way.
I don't think he does. I don't think. Look, I think what you're seeing with Jack Grealish is a player that is not good enough to play Pep Guardiola's system, and it shows. He's a good player, Jack Grealish, a very good footballer, no doubt about it. But to play Pep's system, you've got to be an exceptional footballer. That's why you look at the squad City have got. You know, Pep has to get certain players that can play his system. Look at his first year he came into the Premier League. Everyone thought, oh, Man City go run away with the title. Do you remember they won their first 10 games in a row, didn't they? And everyone's like, oh, he's changed it, everything. Look at them go now. Bakary Sanya's playing inside fullback and, you know, all this sort of stuff. He's inventing football apparently and stuff like that, right? And didn't they only just make Champions League that year as well? The last few weeks of the season, if I remember rightly, finishing fourth or third or something like that, and Leicester winning the league. Then he had to go and spend 300 million on fullbacks and defenders because they couldn't play what he had there at City when he first came. Couldn't play the system he needs to play. He didn't have the goalkeeper, the fullbacks, the centre back that plays the system that he wants to play. And that's not saying Pep's a shit manager and he can't coach these players to be better. His system is just so top notch. He needs the best in the world in them positions to play that system. So when I look at Jack Grealish, it don't mean he's a shit footballer. It just means the system for Jack Grealish is not good enough to play Manchester City system. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way it is. And it's the same with Liverpool. Liverpool's system with Jurgen Klopp's just different to his. Jurgen Klopp doesn't need the players Man City have got with Pep Guardiola for his system to work because it's been proven. You know, Liverpool won a Premier League and Champions League with, you know, Shaqiri's and Origis and Hendo's, Milner's, Oxlade-Chamberlain's, Naby Keita's, who everyone laughs at. But he won Premier League and Champions Leagues with them because his system doesn't entitle what Pep needs for his system. All managers are different. So, you know, I think we just got to keep a thing on that. And Darwin, I think Darwin will, as I said, will get better with time. I like him. I see a player there. What I like about Darwin, all right, he doesn't hide. I'll give him this, right?
Yeah.
When a lot of strikers go through on goal one-on-ones and keep missing, and then you got the away fans or the home fans laughing at you and singing horrible songs and stuff like that. very easy to go get down about that and go missing in games. Darwin carries on. He's like not affected by it. I will give him credit for that. It looks like he's got strong shoulders there. He'll just go, fuck it, I'll carry on. I'll keep going.
Do you know what?
And Klopp loves him. Klopp loves him.
That's huge. That's huge point you make, Jeff. Because if Nunez at this point in time, look, we're talking after like the guy's had 2 games in front of goal that he's not been finishing well. Like other than the Forest game, the guy's pretty much scored or assists. You know what I mean? Like it's so like reactionary, to be honest, this finishing thing. But like I would be worried with Nunez if his head dropped. If his head dropped, right, and he was sort of not in the game and stuff, I'd be like worried. But this guy backs himself so much. And I keep hearing people like, oh, he's not particularly confident in front of goal and stuff like that. Nothing to do with confidence. It's just a point in time where, quite simply, he's just not making the right decision or he's just not hitting the ball well enough. It's nothing to do with confidence or technique or he hasn't got this, he hasn't got that. It's, you know, it's just not happening for him at the moment. And it will turn. I'm telling you now, like this guy, he backs himself so much. Like he knows he's special. He knows how good he is. Just need time to show it. That's all. And the thing is, we're all sitting here, like as Liverpool fans, worrying about Nunez because we're 6th in the league. Like we're 6th in the league has nothing to do with Nunez. It sounds like I've said that.
Yeah,
like,
true. Very true.
Like,
very true.
If the Liverpool midfield could stay fit, right? If Virgil wasn't switching off, right, and actually engage with defenders in this up to now, right? And if, you know, Trent actually tracked back a little bit and you know, Jota wasn't injured and stayed fit and Diaz hadn't got his injury, even though that was quite late on, Liverpool won't be in this position. Do you know what I mean? If Salah, I actually was staying at the start of the season and he's obviously shook me up. I was looking at Salah going, hold on, mate, new contract, 350 grand a week, highest paid player in the club. You're going missing. What's going on? I know you're getting 1 goal, right? And that's cool, but this game's 90 minutes and you did absolutely nothing. Do you know what I mean? We're not in this position because of Nunez. Like, and if everybody else was stepping up and reaching the level that they'd set themselves from previous seasons, we would be in them top 2 positions. And then we wouldn't even be talking about Nunez. There might be 1 or 2 people going, oh, he shouldn't have missed that, he shouldn't have missed that. But we won't care. It's his first season. It's not even like halfway through his first season yet. Doesn't know the language. And we can go on about why, you know, he's still settling into this team. But like, I think a lot of people are carrying their frustrations about how the season has gone and kind of using it to use Nunez as a bit of a scapegoat. And it's not right, to be honest. Because take him out of this team. I know he missed 3 games because he headbutted Anderson, but like take him out of this season, I'd be terrified as to where we would actually be now. I'm gonna be honest with you. We would look like we wouldn't be sitting here thinking, we're a bit leaky in defense stuff. We'll be sitting there going, I don't even know how we score goals. I don't know how we attack. We look so blunt going forward. Like he does so much for our attack. It's underappreciated.
Right, I just got some news to say before we carry on. So I'll get to this as well. So Caicedo, so Liverpool want Caicedo this January and trying to work on a deal. The thing is, and I don't blame Brighton. Brighton wants 70 million for him. They also want 80 million for McAllister, which I don't blame them for.
80 million for who?
Yeah, bro, they're crazy.
And look, I don't blame them putting high prices on their best players because it's up to them at the end of the day. You know, the bigger teams shouldn't be able to come to Brighton and just go, right, we want him and him and him because you're Brighton. Do you know what I mean? They should, you know, make the bigger teams pay for him. Why not? So Liverpool do not want to pay 70 million for Caicedo. They do not want to pay 70 million for Caicedo. They're trying to get it down to 50. But Brighton want a lot more upfront than what Liverpool usually pay. So at the moment, it's in the air. But Liverpool do want Caicedo. That's all I know on that so far. So if Liverpool
what's the alternative?
Go and get Frankie de Jong, man. 67.5 mil, bro.
There you go.
No. Okay, cool. We get a Frankie de Jong. He's on. He'd have to technically be on more than what a Virgil would probably be on, unless we can offer him a deal. No, I'm with you in terms of the player. I like Frankie de Jong. I think he's a player that who comes in and there isn't. If he doesn't bang straight away, you have every right to be mad because he's at that level now. He's a professional who's been doing this, playing Champions League at the highest level for ages. But I'm just looking at the whole package. Obviously, we know how Liverpool like to do deals. We know what they're like in their contract negotiations. Is Frankie de Jong realistically looking at Liverpool and thinking yeah, I'll take a wage cut to go there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I have no idea what his ambitions
look at
are.
it this way. We got if we want to move forward as a club and move past the previous owners, and we're hopefully going to get some new ones. We have to move forward in our thinking. So we can't just think, oh, let's look back at what we used to do. No, because from when Salah got the new deal, that's now changed. And if we get the new owners, that has to change. We need to get top-class midfielders in there and stop getting these, let's hope he can become good. I'm not saying Caicedo is not a good player, but it's more of a hope that he could come in our team and do what, say, a Genie was doing and boss the midfield, win the ball back, play it forward and all that kind of stuff. But if we get Frankie de Jong in, you have got a player there that's going to have so much quality that's going to push us forward as a club. Why not go for him? Why go and spend this money on a player that we hope can be good instead of going and spend less on a player that is actually good?
No, I agree. I agree with that. Do you know what it is, though? There's no way Liverpool going to deal with Barcelona for what's happening there at the moment. So I said earlier,
some money for Coutinho. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I said it earlier as well. You buy Frankie de Jong in it. You buy Frankie de Jong, and then somehow you're in £200 million worth of debt because they've thrown it all on his contract or something like that. I don't think. I literally think that's why no one's gone in for Frankie de Jong yet, because he's there to be bought. He's actually there to be bought, but no one's actually gone in for him yet. And I think the reason is because no one trusts Barcelona with all this shit going on with them. So you know,
what's okay? So asking everyone here on the panel, everyone in the chat, then Enzo, we're not getting that guy. I can see him go to Chelsea. Looks like he's already basically there. Caicedo, we don't really want to put up the money by the looks of it, unless Brighton obviously start playing a bit of ball. So now we've gone from Jude, Enzo, Caicedo. Forget Jude because that's a summer. Well, that's supposedly happening in the summer. So Enzo and Caicedo, that's 3 midfielders already that we've been heavily linked to, shall we say, in the past 6 months that we probably all wanted at one point, you know, in time. Yeah. For various reasons, they're either not coming or it's going to be a very difficult kind of deal to do. Now, where do you go? Like, what do you look at now? Because there are hundreds of midfielders I would love to have at this football club, but it seems like they're not really the ones the club is kind of looking at, if that makes sense.
Because I've said it already. Klopp ain't going to change his system. This tells me that.
Yeah.
Because as you say, there is a lot of midfielders out there that could come into this Liverpool team now and change us round. But that tells me that Klopp ain't wanting to change his system. He wants to keep the system as it is. That's why Caicedo fits into our system. You know what I mean? He fits into our system. Bellingham fits into our system. You know what I mean? That tells me that, you know, Amrabat fits into our system. You know, these players that we're looking at fit into our system, which tells me Klopp ain't willing just yet to maybe change our system. And look, and if it's his system, why should he change it at the end? He's the manager. If he wants to play this system, then what the owners have got to do, the owners have got to buy the players Klopp wants. If Klopp wants to play this system and the owners fully trust Jurgen Klopp, then they got to let Klopp buy the players that he wants to play this system. So if Klopp wants Caicedo, he wants Jude Bellingham, just go and get him the 2 players that he wants to play his system. Because if you trust the manager, get him the players that he can do it. Don't go and get him players because they're cheaper alternatives, but they don't fit Jurgen Klopp's system. Because then what happens? Jurgen Klopp's the one who looks like the idiot, and everyone starts wanting Jurgen Klopp out.
Because it's going to be interesting when we get these players, by the way, because the second we get these players, all eyes are on Klopp now. Like, I don't know about anyone else. Obviously, this season, we all thought we'd be challenging for some type of a title. That doesn't really look like it's happening. Next season, when we head into next season, if Klopp gets these players, if you don't win the Premier League or don't come second by a point like you have done, there's going to be some serious questions to be asked because you've now got what you wanted. You've got your right players and stuff like that. There's going to be serious, like, it's going to be a lot of pressure, actually, I think, anyway, cranked up on Klopp next season if he gets these players. If not, we're back to square one and it's going to be the excuses will start to come out and we'll let him off and stuff like that. But if he gets these players, there's going to be a lot because at the moment he hasn't got the players. So we're kind of in that position where oh, but Klopp hasn't got his players, so until he gets them, we can't judge him. I mean, he's been here 7 years. I feel like we can, but people say we can't really judge him. Cool. When he gets these players, but there's a lot of people. I'm not going to say
there's just crazy ones.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, exactly. And it's like when I look at it, I'm like, I look at Klopp and I look at everything he's done, and I look at the way that the team plays. I look at how we're playing at the moment, all the injuries. I try to take everything into consideration, and sometimes I sit there and think, really and truly, I don't feel like this season anyway, I don't feel like you've utilized what you've actually had to the best of your abilities, because we can't sit here and say we faced Fulham, we faced Palace, we faced Brighton, we faced, I can't remember who the other one was, and I think, Forest, Nottingham Forest, Leeds United. That's 5 games. I'm sorry, but all of those teams that we face, go and check the lineups, should be winning those games. Forget the injuries that we've even got within that. So for whatever reason, we haven't done that. For whatever reason, things just haven't really panned out. That's not obviously just on Klopp, but he plays a massive role in that. So then I'm starting to look at it and I'm thinking, okay, when you do get these players, someone just asked it in the chat there a minute ago, will Klopp use Jude Bellingham properly though? Because the Jude Bellingham we see at Dortmund, as Cav mentioned before about Thiago, when we were speaking about him and the way he plays, the Thiago we saw at Bayern and Barca isn't the Thiago we see today. The Curtis Jones that we all saw in the academy isn't the Curtis Jones we see today. The Harvey Elliott we saw at Fulham and Blackburn is not the same player. They're like literally 2 polar opposites of player because of the positions that they play. Will getting in Jude Bellingham, Enzo, or a Caicedo or Amrabat, is he going to utilize them properly enough to push forward? And that's why when Jamie mentioned about tactics and stuff like that, I am starting to now think, maybe he just doesn't want to change the way he plays. So we're not even going to go in for anyone else, and we'll just kind of keep it until we can actually get these players. And if we can't get them, then it's just kind of like we just move on to whoever the next target is.
Let me just say this, but Sabalba, big up Sabalba, Phantom Menace. Caicedo has been doing it in the Prem. De Jong hasn't. Caicedo is more guaranteed for the Prem from that perspective. Big up
it's a good point.
But at the same time, we've only seen a guy with a handful of games, man. So we can't really use that as a point.
Yeah,
he's only played 12 games in the Prem, 13 games in the Prem. So De Jong's been
he's played like over 20. He's played like 24, 25.
All right, but if we look at longevity, sorry, go on, Jamie.
I was just saying, big up Redbird as well. Just became a member on the channel as well. So
big up Redbird.
Became a member. Big up to you for that as well. Yeah, go for it, guys. Go on.
No, because Frankie's played more senior games. So I get what you're saying. He's played more Premier League games, but it's 20 games compared to Frankie de Jong playing in multiple leagues and playing in the big stages. So and played against the top midfielders in the world and playing on the international stage. Caicedo's only really done it this year. So he's still a young player in terms of where he's at in his footballing career. So I get it, but at the same time, man, Frankie de Jong's a way better player. And I think he can come and do the same job in the Premier League that he's doing
Frankie's
in the Spanish league.
Like that.
He's too good,
man. I like Frankie.
I think all of us, I think without speaking for everybody, are in agreement that we would quite like to see the team transition more towards like a Man City style of play where we let the ball do the work as Enz puts it in. That conserves energy, but you still have that control on the game. You still have that attacking threat. You're just not having to exert yourself 100% every minute of every game.
Would you argue we did that last season, Cavlo? Would you argue we did that last season?
I think we were better in the title winning season, I'll be honest. I mean, how many times have we said we won 13 games by a single goal? Because once we got ahead, we not that we sat back, but we just controlled the game and we passed it around. Probably took away from our attack a little bit, but we were so comfortable defensively and we just like relaxed a little bit and just passed it around. Maybe was a bit more patient with our openings and stuff, whereas at the minute it's got to be full throttle to make things happen.
So transition play was a lot better.
But to do that, I do agree with Benz. You do have to get a different style of midfield. Then you do have to get more technical guys like Thiago, like Frankie and stuff. But then there's the argument, which I think some people like, where they're quite happy to just get back to what made his challenge for 4 trophies in one season, got his with Champions League and Prem. But what I would add is, I know it's high octane and you can only do it for so long. But that's maybe where you just need to have a bolstered squad, have more quality and depth, which is you do in the transfer market, you know, and then once you see players are flagging or whatever, you're proactive and you get the replacement in to then succession plan and stuff. I think I don't mind the high octane stuff or whatever. I think it's an issue when you don't make the signings to, you know, help that squad out. I think that's the issue. You can't have both things. You can't play high quality, high octane football 100% all the time and not have a bench that can, you know, come take players off at 60 minutes, can't drop in for the odd game, you know. And we had the players for too long. Quite simply, they were there for too long. Henderson, has been at 12 years. That's credit. But we should have had a guy that was pushing Henderson out after 5 years, after 6 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
So with what you're saying there, Cav, I agree with you as well. But at the same time, the way that we play, this is why we are not going to win multiple leagues, because the games that I see Man City play against the same sides that we're playing against, they just easily go past these teams and they're not doing any less than what we're doing. But what they're doing is just being a bit more patient with the build-up. They're being patient and precise. And then when they score the goals, they keep the ball a lot more. With us, as soon as we get that one goal, it's like, okay, let's now sit back or let's panic. Let's try and go and get another one. It's so frantic. So teams just hit us on the counter all the time. Teams can't do that to Man City. So over a longer period of time and longevity, we can probably challenge every year, but we're never going to win it consistently. We have to change the style of play with better quality midfielders that allows us to dominate games for a longer period of time. At the moment, it's just like we dominate it for 20 minutes, then we lose out for like 15, 20 minutes, then we're back in control, and then it depends on our substitutions. Where with Man City, it's just relentless attacks. The team will get one or two, but Man City are getting continuous attacks at the opposition goal.
Yeah, do you know what? A couple of points on that as well, right? Man City are so much better coached in terms of patterns of play and attacking than we are. Like, but all of their goals, you know, not all of them, but a lot of their goals are just beautiful passive movement, you know, team goals, link up play, people creating space for one another, you know, unselfish runs, third man runs, you know, triangles, and all of this is beautiful passive play. We don't seem to have that. And that's been one of my frustrations throughout the sort of Klopp era, really. Even though attack has been brilliant, we score goals. It's always like a bit frantic. It's always like there is moments of quality, don't get me wrong, but I would like us to work on actual team patterns of play and, you know, and try and I think that's where they always carry the threat and we don't, because we need momentum like to really sustain an attack. Whereas Man City, it's just basically down to their tactics. Do you know what I mean? But then on the flip side, momentum for Liverpool and the crowd and the Anfield factor and things like that is massive. So I don't know if we played Man City style of football where we control games and stuff. I don't think we could harness that power of Anfield like we do now. Part of, you know, doing so well in the Champions League and the fact that no one wants to come to Anfield and play and stuff because it's such not a hostile ground, but it's, you know, we all know the power of Anfield and stuff. Part of that is the style of play. It is that high octane. It's that attack. It's that relentlessness. If we just start passing the ball around and knocking it about and, you know, just pass it for keeping possession's sake and patient, choose our moments, it's just natural. Players, the fans on the seats will just watch the game and admire it. They won't be up on their feet.
With that, Cav, right, what will happen then, we can't be as fans be like, oh, we should have won the league this year. We just have to settle just to win one every other couple of years because we have to change the style of play to be consistent. At the moment, we're just literally building an engine room and it's like, boys, go and run. Let the forwards go and do the job. And then it comes to a point where these guys are going to be tired in games. We don't manage the tempo of the game well enough, in my opinion.
Unless we have the depth.
Sorry, man. Let me just get to them. I've got a few super chats to read through, so I just want to
go for it, Jay. Sorry, man.
Get respect these guys' super chats. Big up Zabiri, thank you very much. He says, for each man in the panel, pick one of the following: Klopp, Linders, Ward, J.W. Henry. Who would you represent? You can't pick the same one. All right, okay. I'm the host. I'll go first. I'll go Klopp. I'm done, right? Ends.
I'm going Linders.
Go Linders, Cav. We're going to put it out the way with. Who's representing you, man? Who's representing
you? I don't want to go on, but I have an answer for all of them. But I'd pick Klopp.
You can't. I'll pick him already.
What? Yeah. All right. I'll tell you. Okay. I tell you now, I pick John W. Henry.
Yeah, man, why not?
Because whether you like it or not, he bought a club for 300 million that were nowhere, right? And I know we had a massive following and stuff, but we went on to be the best club in the world. So,
yeah.
however, label it,
put that
down to Klopp, put that down to investment of lack of or whatever. The truth of the story is we were very close to the bottom in the Prem, and then we got to the very, very top. And the guy in charge is Henry,
the owner,
at the top of the tree. So,
but do you know what? Cav's actually picked the right person to represent, because I went with the popular choice of Klopp, which can't go wrong. But let's be fair.
I'll go with Ward.
John W. Henry is a billionaire.
No, but the reason why I went with Linders is because obviously he got us Robbo, he got us Diaz, he's obviously got us Nunez, and he's also got us Gakpo. These are all players that he actually wanted in the squad and spoke about highly before we actually signed them. So,
exactly.
I pick Ward. I don't mind being Ward. Ward is.
Yeah, Ward's good.
Go on, G. Put your argument in for Ward.
Go on.
I haven't even got an argument.
Like, 6 months?
He got Salah signed.
What? G just likes Ward's Armani trainers he was wearing the other day. Though.
And there's that too. The swagger about him.
Man's got swagger. Klopp prefers energy and work rate players over skill players in midfield, and De Jong and Amrabat would suit Klopp or McAllister and Amrabat. Yeah, I agree. Big up DJ Brains. I actually really I rate McAllister. I look at him in World Cup and thought he's a good player. He's nothing, I wouldn't say he's anything special, but he's got an endless engine, tremendous work rate, and he's got enough quality on the ball that I think would suit our system as well. I think he's a very good footballer.
I think you know what it just on that quickly before we move on to the next one. I think what we're all saying, and Cav mentioned it, I think what we're looking for is a more conducive style of play that will at least allow, because obviously En's mentioned it before, and I 100% agree. Liverpool in this style of play, we can never ever win multiple league titles. Like it couldn't happen because of the style of play. There's too much of a burnout very, very quickly. When we reach optimum level, though, like I said, reach optimum level, we are probably one of the best teams out there. We proved it for 2 seasons. We literally proved that when we're at our optimum level, we are literally no one's stopping us. But that is so short stint that over a 10-year period, for example, how many times can it happen? It can't. I just think what we want is it doesn't have to be Manchester City style. I don't care about Man City style. It just needs to be a style that allows the team to keep on developing all the time and staying at that kind of level. If that then means that Klopp has to either stop being a bit so loyal to his players, and the board have to start playing a bit more, a bit of ball and start giving us a bit more money to spend. The two have to go hand in hand. If those two things happen, keep at the way we're going, as En said, we're not winning multiple titles. That cannot happen because you get to about 2 years, reach a peak. Now everyone's going to be burned out in year 3. Then what happens? Now it's going to take you 2 years to get back to that same level. In that time, other teams are going to start. It's too many. And at the moment, there's way too many teams who are now going to continuously keep getting better. Man City, Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Spurs. That's 6 teams already that I'm looking at and I'm thinking, crap. They kind of look like they're all starting to develop their own kind of way and are pushing us, for that kind of spot with Manchester City. So, yeah, man. I agree with what you're saying there.
I just think, for me, I just thinking about it now as we've been speaking, if I had my ideal, it would be that we play the style of football, the high octane stuff, get the crowd on side, the power of Anfield, full throttle, like we have been when we've been most successful, but invest in the squad more to be able to facilitate that for longer. Because I think part of the issue has been when we won that title, we were so fortunate with injuries and we were able to put out the same starting 11 for so long. you know, but that was never going to last. And then we didn't have the quality in depth to really come in and support it. I feel like if we got to that same position again, and then we invested so that we could rotate out a player each game, or maybe have 2 or 3 changes for one game week or something like that. And then obviously when players look as if they're waning a little bit, get the next guy in who's probably been there for a year or 2 already, you know, and continue it rolling. I feel like would be okay. Like I say, I go back to it. I just think it's that we didn't succession plan well enough when we were at the top.
I agree. Aaron says, big up Aaron in the super chat as well. There are loads of midfielders out there that would improve us and could get for a reasonable price. I think this right player thing's an excuse. And DJ Brainers comes back in. The front four with Mane at left wing, Firmino striker, Salah right wing, Coutinho at cam. We're unstoppable. We need better quality on the bench to prevent burnout. Yeah, I agree with all that.
Good
I agree with
super
everyone. Great super chats, guys. Thank you very much. We do appreciate them. Really do.
I do hate that we didn't get to see I know Coutinho facilitated, you know, Alisson and thingy, and that what made us successful.
Everything we've done since.
I do hate that. Obviously, Ox did that role a little bit as a cam, but I don't like how we've kind of just disregarded the fact that we can have a cam. Like, I'd love to have a Coutinho's type figure in this team now. Love to, but it seems like because our success came with like a really industrious, like engine room midfield, like we feel like that's what we've got to go back to. I don't understand why we can't have an attacking third man midfielder. I don't
get Madison. Can't get a Madison, mate. Players like that is available. He's available, bro.
He'd be a good squad option, though. He'd be a good squad option to have.
Madison comes in and can create, bro. With Gakpo, Nunez, and Salah in front of him, there's a lot of targets for him to hit, bro. You can't do wrong.
There's a lot of apparently there's a lot of rumours online today that Newcastle are going to try and bid for him in January. So
bro, that's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't be shocked by that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked by that. But this is one thing I was going to get to now before we finish up today. Is Liverpool's transfer policy. Now, I know a lot of people have been speaking about this lately, and we've spoke about it a bit sometimes, gone into detail. I want to just go in a bit more detail. So, there's players that... So, you see Brighton. Everyone commends Brighton on their scouting, yeah? They buy all these quality players for cheap prices and then sell them on for really high prices, yeah? That was meant to be FSG's mould, right? They buy players quite cheaply, sell them on quite highly, yeah? That hasn't really happened in a while, let's be fair. With the players out there we can buy, we was always apparently interested in Valverde before he went to Real Madrid, and he was cheap. We never went in for him. We was apparently interested in Camavinga before he went to Real Madrid. We never went in for him. What did he go for, 20 million? Yeah. I'm looking now at Man City with their South American business. The South American market is huge. Liverpool don't look at that market a lot, do they? And you look at what Man City are buying. They've just gone and got, what's his name? Alvarez for 17 million, was it? Something ridiculous like that. And now they're looking at this young kid for 8 million, who's meant to be a very good footballer. And we always say, City got money. But they're very clever in the transfer market. You know, they got a Kanji for 15 million. You know, they're very, very clever and shrewd in the transfer market, even though they have abundance of money. Do you think Liverpool's recruitment is good? I'm not saying their recruitment ain't good, because look at the players we've bought and are mustered in our time, especially under Jurgen Klopp. But could it arguably be better? Does our scouting let us down a little bit? And this is why Klopp wants to go away from the way we have been scouting players for the last few years. Because, you know, is it Ian Dennis who does the stats and all that online? You know, all the media part of it, and Edwards and that. And because we're on about FSG have never got money, yeah? So they can't buy high-end quality. But look at the quality that has gone around Europe for very low prices that are FSG priced footballers. Why has Liverpool never gone in for them? Is Klopp annoyed with this now? And that is why Klopp wants to take Mahoda more of the transfer side of it. Look, Gakpo for 37 million. You know, what do we reckon, guys? What do you reckon?
I would say it's the manager has his own style of play. So when the scouting team goes out, they have to go and look for players within that mold of what Klopp desires in terms of what he needs from a player. The reason why Man City goes and scouts the South American League, because they like technically gifted footballers. Klopp doesn't, it looks like. He just wants the robust guys with lungs for days that can run around, win tackles, and then press on the front foot. So I think Klopp's probably let down the scouting department more than the scouting department's let him down. Because if Klopp goes, look, I need a Coutinho style player, they'll go to South America. They wouldn't be going into Europe to go and look for that type of player. They'll go South America, into Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, and those kind of leagues. So I think it's the other way around. I think Klopp's let down his scouting team. He hasn't given them the range, I think, where you can clearly see that Pep's gone like, boys, this is our style of play. We need players with technical ability. These are the leagues I need you to go and look for these boys, and then go and get them. That's just my opinion.
Big up Redbird. Updating his membership straight away. Look at that. Big up Redbird.
Big up Redbird.
It's like the content is good, man.
Klopp said recently he'd like us to take more chances in the transfer market. This is what I'm getting at. So is he like seeing players going for, you know, the thing is though, so Brighton.
But do you think Klopp's looking at like Man City are just about to sign that guy from Argentina? Can't remember, it's something Perón, I think. I don't think Klopp's looking at that guy and thinking that's the kind of guy. I think it's like what En said. I think he likes his physical attributed players. So those are the type of players he's going for, as opposed to Pep obviously just likes these technical players. So there's probably a lot more of those guys out there. And remember, look at the players that we are signing. Even the Gakpos, your Mo Salahs, your Manes, they have to reach a certain age anyway before we even see that, because most of them are not going to have that at 18, 19. Like, it's very rare that you're going to see that. Jude Bellingham literally being the anomaly in this situation. We don't see that until they hit like 23, 24. That's why we're getting your Gakpos and your Nunez's and stuff like that, because they probably just fit, as En said, what he wants them to kind of do. Like, I think it's both. I agree with Enz actually, man. I think it's both. I think it is a bit of Klopp. He's not really cast his net wide enough in terms of the types of player that he's looking for. But at the same time, the club are not really acting on this, like, because we've bought young players, but look at the young players we're buying. Like, I don't know about Ben Doak. He might turn out to be good, but then you've got Ben Doak, you've got Kai Gordon, you've got Fabio Carvalho, you've got Harvey Elliott. Those are four young players that we've signed recently. Calvin Ramsey, that we've signed recently. Look at the profile of type of player that we're kind of getting anyway. Does that kind of match up to what Klopp kind of wants? Carvalho being a number 10. We don't play with a number 10. Ramsey, we never see the guy. You know, Ben Doak's kind of, he played 2 senior games for Celtic, got plumped into the under-18s at Liverpool, in the under-23s. Now he's in the first team because we've got injury. Like I keep saying, man, Klopp and these youngsters, man, I don't trust it. I don't really trust Klopp with these young players like that. I don't feel like he's the guy that I would want nurturing young players, because his track record hasn't shown me that he's the manager to nurture young players. It just shows me that he gives them opportunities, but he doesn't trust them. And you mentioned that anyway before, Jamie, in regards to maybe Klopp should start trusting some of these young players. I don't feel like Klopp ever does that. Like, name me, outside of Trent, you name me one other young player that he has ever brought through to a first team and is a first team regular. None.
Trent,
maybe you're going to have to go back to Goethe. You're going to have to say that again.
No, Trent was forced on him as well with the injury for play.
Exactly. We had injuries. Trent was a midfielder at the time, and you know, I mean, we got put in at right back. So it's like, cool, but I'll give you the Trent one just for the sake of it. He don't really nurture these young players. Again, I'm not trying to get onto Klopp. I don't want this to be a thing on Klopp, but the reality is Klopp's track record factually is not good with young players. Ben Woodburn, there was a big hoo-ha about him. That guy's knocking about for, I can't even remember who he's playing for, somewhere in the lower leagues. I don't even know. Like, there's been Harry Wilson. There was big talks about Harry, like big talks. Like, we were looking at him thinking he should come into the team, and because of the way he plays. What happened to him? He's gone wherever. Ryan Kent, he's at Rangers now. Like, there's a lot of players that Ryan Brewster, that like before Klopp, Ryan Brewster was the guy. He was the guy to come through. Klopp comes in, that's it. That got done and dusted. Not because maybe style of play and things like that, but again, like I say, the way Klopp needs to kind of play and the way that his football is and the way he nurtures these young players, I don't trust him with young players. Hence why I always get a bit angsty when we're looking at like a Jude, because I'm like, ooh, would Jude actually really develop the way that he needs to at Liverpool? Or would he be better served going to a different team where his footballing ability will actually come to fruition a lot better? But again, that's just my 2 cents. I don't want anyone to get angry with me.
No, I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but because people always ask sometimes, like, look at Brighton scouting, look at Caicedo and McAllister come from nowhere really cheap and left to flourish at Brighton. I think the difference is a lot of these teams can buy that kind of player and put them in and help improve the team because where they are as a team. If Liverpool went, I honestly believe this, if Liverpool went and bought McAllister, right, before anyone ever heard of him, for no money, from an Argentinian side, everyone would be going, who's this geezer we're buying? Because the fan base can be a bit like that, can't they? I even believe, before anyone even heard of Jude Bellingham, if you got told, Liverpool buying this 17, 16-year-old from Birmingham, don't know why, right? And no one ever heard of him, right? Everyone would be like, why are you buying Jude Bellingham? Why are you buying this Jude Bellingham, this 16-year-old kid from Birmingham? So I see why, at the same time, why we don't buy a lot of these younger players that look exceptional now, because they're like, this is what happens. But then you see like someone like a Jude Bellingham now who's 19. He looks like a well beater, and like everyone's like, you gotta have to pay the money for him. But literally, if you bought him when he was 16 at Birmingham, everyone would be moaning. Do you know what I mean? McAllister, you bought him where I think it was Argentina he'd come from. You went and got him, bought him from there, young lad, and everyone would be like, who's this man? I don't even know of him. He hasn't got a FIFA card. Unfortunately, we live in this society, this world, where, but some people will be like, no, we do. Like, let's trust what the manager wants and all that. So it's a bit of a toxic fan base. I will say that. If you're too positive about something, you get called a top red. If you're so negative of everything, you're like the ultimate negative Liverpool fan. You don't like anything positive. Like, there's no like, you can't just be a Liverpool fan with.
You can't just be a Liverpool fan, yeah.
You can't just be a Liverpool fan with a voice, and you're allowed to praise one side. It's like I always say about FSG, yeah. Every time Liverpool lose a game of football, it's FSG's fault, right? FSG's fault. Every time we lose a game of football, because they don't want to blame Klopp, right? So they blame the ownership. But when we won everything and had all these players in, we're doing really well, best team in the world. No one praised FSG. It was just all the praise for Klopp, right? Yeah. But that only happens with the ownership coming down, don't it? Right. No, Klopp don't do it on his own. It comes from the top coming down, ownership down, right? And you can't say. So I'm always that with the fan base. It does irritate me a little bit. You can't go, right, that team lost to Nottingham Forest. That's Liverpool. That's the ownership's fault. Not really. I mean, that team should have still beaten Nottingham Forest.
Exactly.
Exactly. So if you're going to blame, it's because where we are as a football club right now, you have people that absolutely adore and love Jurgen Klopp, rightly so as well. I love him as well. But they place him as high as the football club. Right. Yeah. Then you got people that hate FSG so much, no matter what happens at the football club, it's all FSG's fault, because they don't want to blame Jurgen Klopp for anything. So you got this weird divide at the football fan in the fan base at the moment, which is ridiculous. I'm just a Liverpool fan. I think it's also. I was going to say, I think it's also fueled by the sheer fact that
Liverpool were once, you got to remember we were once like the best club like in England, like title after title, winning, and we've gone 30 odd years and we only have one title. So we've gone from being this club who knows how to win a league to a club who hasn't got a clue. So it's like that turn of events. And in that time, Man United dominated. Chelsea had their period. Arsenal just kind of thrown in there a couple of times. And then now it's kind of like Man City are now doing the domination. So I think that like where a lot of the fan base now who are speaking, like myself, like a Cav, like an Ends, and even like yourself as well, we're quite young. So in terms of we're now at the stage where we've gone through the majority, if not all of our lives and seen one Premier League title. And on the flip side, we've seen Manchester United dominate football. We've seen Chelsea come in and dominate. We now see Manchester City come in and dominate. So I think when we're looking at it, we then only have history to talk about. I can only go on the 70s, the 80s. Like I can only speak of that because that was Liverpool's best period of time. So I'm almost having to kind of compare it with that as opposed to, all the fans now, Man United fans. Yeah, we might laugh at them now, but it was only about 10 odd years ago when they were the best thing since sliced bread. Do you know what I mean? Chelsea fans, again, they've been consistently winning for the last 20 years since Roman Abramovich came in. Manchester City fans, we may laugh at them, but again, they're winning at this current moment in time. And I think because of how football is and how fan bases and the banter and stuff like that, with Liverpool, unfortunately, we've gone from being the best to kind of being knocked down a few pegs. And we're not as big as we once were, but we're still this massive club, but we're just not this dominating club. And we just want to dominate. Like, I'm sure everyone here on this panel would love to be in a position where a 10-year period, we win the most Premier Leagues, in that 10-year period. I'm sure not everyone here would love that kind of thing. And I think that's everybody wants that. We just all see it differently and we just all see it in different kind of ways. So that's why you get all the kind of negativity and stuff like that.
I do also, just to add to G's point, because he put it really well, like we are the most successful club in England.
There you go.
We talk about all these big teams. We're the biggest. Do you know what I mean? We're the most successful. And then you look at how big our fan base is and everything else, right? And then Klopp got us and FSG and the rest got us to being the best team in Europe again. And we've just fell away a little bit because of different reasons. And investment is a big one, but it is also Klopp, and it's also the players, especially this season. And we're just a bit like, I'm sick of looking at our club, and it's part of what G said, because most of my life supporting Liverpool, we've not been successful. We've been a bit of a laughing stock. All my mates are Leicester fans, United fans, and I've been mocked and bantered about for most of my life supporting Liverpool, right? And we've got to the top, and it's now like, I'm sick of having this like underdog status. I'm sick of having excuses. Like, I admire that we've done things in the right way. We've complied with financial fair play. We've got players that are on the cusp of peaking, and it's a beautiful story, and it's doing it the proper right way. But then when I think of it as a whole, I'm like, I don't have an excuse. We're the most successful team in England. Like, there's no excuse for us once we're back at the top, we're at our peak, to be there or thereabouts. There shouldn't be a drop-off. There's no excuse for us. We were there. We were back there. Do you know what I mean? And we were there consistently for 3 or 4 seasons. We won a Champions League. We won a Premier League. We have the biggest fan base, arguably, in the world. We are the most successful team in England. I keep saying it. There's no excuse for Liverpool to not be there still. There was because of, a terrible past sort of couple of decades. But we're not there anymore. We're not there when I was like 13, 14, getting bantered by all my mates. Do you know what I mean? It's a different time now. We're up here. And we need to change this mindset of being the underdog and stuff. I know we're up against Man City that have a wealth of money, but we have so many weapons in our armory that they don't have. Do you know what I mean? I talk about Anfield again. We just need to be serious, man. I think people just need to recognize who we are, and we should be winning. We should expect it from ourselves that we should be winning at the very top. Being in 6th position right now and getting top 4 this season, it isn't good enough. Like, I love Klopp. I love the players that we've got. I admire everything about them, but it's not good enough at the end of it. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't happen to us. It can happen to a Brighton or a Leicester, because when they were up there for a few years and they fell away, there's an excuse for them. There's not an excuse for us. We're a massive club. We should always be there or thereabouts in them top positions.
I've just seen something on Sky Sports. Sky Sports have got to stop doing this.
What's that?
They got, they put basically the highs and lows of Darwin Nunez on their thing, right? And they talk about mental health. They talk about mental health a lot, don't they? And they put that up. It's just all the time.
You see, things like that don't like. That's what I don't like. I don't like all of that stuff because you're inviting some level of negativity. Because regardless of anything, you could do that with the highs and lows of Erling Haaland, and it's still going to invite a level of negativity towards him. Yeah. Don't do stuff like that, man. I don't like stuff like that.
No, exactly.
We need to get our fan base back together, guys, man. I think we're just too divided. I keep saying that we've got too much Decepticons in terms of our fan base now. We were so together. This is one of the reasons why I support Liverpool, because I can sit down with every Liverpool fan and we can just agree to disagree all the time and just be happy being our fans. But now it's just like we're fighting against each other to who's got the right point and who doesn't. It's madness, bro. And the fact that we don't back our own players is crazy to me. I understand if a player isn't doing well, but yeah. Man,
do you think it's because we tasted? It's like we almost, like as Cav said, like we got to the top, like after decades of just being bums, and then we finally get to the. Remember, Liverpool are a cup team. Like, let's be honest with you, Liverpool were a cup team for the last 30 years. So now that we got ourselves back to the point where we won a league title, do you almost feel like it's like you tasted that like the. I don't even know the words.
We're back where we should be. That's the status of our club.
Yeah, you tasted heaven. You tasted heaven.
Basically. Yeah. It's like you've had heaven and then you've had it, and it's just been taken away from you so quickly. But it's not even just been taken away. It's like you got to the top of the mountain and you've tumbled like to a position where it's like, how did you go from here to like here? Like as Cav said, even if we make top 4 this season, that's not good enough. Like, I'm not looking at that as some success. I'm looking at that quite embarrassed because we laughed at Arsenal for doing that for years because that's the level that they were at. We shouldn't be looking at that level and then thinking to ourselves, "Oh, that's brilliant. We should get top 4 because we've had injuries." No, we shouldn't even be in a position where we're worrying about that. I don't see Man City worrying about that. Arsenal clearly are not worrying about that this season. So we shouldn't be there, in that kind of position.
This Liverpool team should be top 2 all the time, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Everything's there for this team to be top 2 every year. But I will get to something that's going to piss a lot of people off, and Jamrock's the super chatted it as well. So there's reports coming out today that FSG do not want to sell now.
Oh, fantastic!
And Jamrock just put it. Henry doesn't prefer a full sale meltdown in free.
Well, let me ask you this question off the bat then, Jay. We've got Gakpo in the door. Let's say we get a midfielder in this January, and then let's say we go on to get Jude in the summer. Does that not just satisfy what everyone wants from FSG?
I'll be happy with it. Look, because I'm not like you, Kev, like some of us here. I'm just a Liverpool fan. I'm not bothered what's going up here, what's going on under there, and what's going on at the canteen. Do you know what I mean? I'm just a Liverpool fan. If Jurgen Klopp leaves Liverpool, I'm not going to stop supporting Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? I'm a Liverpool fan. That is my team. And I don't get so wound up by it all. I don't get so wound up by the owners. I don't get wound up by them. I'm 41 years old. I've been supporting Liverpool since I was 10. I've seen a lot of dross. Do you know what I mean? I've lived through a lot of dross and a lot of crap. Liverpool getting left behind by the Premier League in 1992. And only 2 years ago, we're the best team in the land. And like we were left behind by the money of the Premier League and couldn't compete because we kept at the same old school routine that was now gone. And so I don't get, if I was old enough and YouTube existed in 92, I'd have done a Liverpool show back then and still been the same fan I am now. I haven't changed. But so many people now are so angry at the ownership. They're so angry at the ownership. And yes, the owners have done wrong. They're not perfect. They haven't got deep pockets. Fair enough. Is it time for them to go? Maybe. Yeah. If they want to. At the end of the day, they own the football club. You know what I mean? They can't They can't. If they don't want to sell, they don't want to sell. You know what I mean? It's up to them. It's their. They own it. It's their thing, right? Will I say they've been shit owners? Not really, because look at everything we won. Look at the team we put together, and now it's just starting to fall apart a little bit. I never saw anyone coming for FSG when we won Champions League and Premier Leagues. I never saw it anywhere.
Yeah, everyone's mouth is quiet.
I never saw it anywhere. And, you know, the year after, when we won the Premier League, I thought we had quite a good transfer window, you know, getting Tsimikas, Jota and Thiago in. We just won the Premier League and we go and buy Tsimikas, Thiago and Jota. That ain't a terrible business, you know. That's not terrible transfer business. It was just COVID. We had no one in the stadium. And then the following year, we get Kanate in. Weren't enough, but Kanate is going to be a world-class talent. Yes, we need more now, and it's falling off the reins a bit. But we can't always, as fans, just split ourselves and divide ourselves. A million people sit over there with Jurgen Klopp and think he's nothing to blame and he's absolutely perfect. And a million people sit over there with FSG and go, yeah, they're the people that's at the root of the problem. It's all them. It's no one else. I'm sort of just sitting in between them people, and like, I'm a Liverpool fan. I will criticise Klopp when he's done wrong. I will criticise FSG when they've done wrong. I will talk about what we need to do better, you know, but I won't be super negative about everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's definitely the way you should be, Jay. But like I say, all we care about as Liverpool fans, first and foremost, is that our club wins trophies. That's all. That's the long and short of it. We want to see good football. We want to see the best players, but we just care that we're winning, and we don't care who's in charge or who owns us at that point in time. And I think we're all in agreement that how we're thinking about how we get back to winning, and it's just a little bit of investment. It's just replenishing, you know, the squad, refreshing it, getting some new blood in there. And look, we're not even in January yet, and they've already got a player through the door. So we don't need to sit here worrying about what's going to happen. What will happen will happen. You can't affect it. But the good thing is that what we care about is the players are coming in the door to help, and it looks as though they are. So let's just concentrate on that stuff. You know, if we got to the end of January and we hadn't signed anybody, I would completely understand people that go, I need FSG out. We needed help. They've not helped us in the transfer market. I can't see how we're going to move forward because of that. I'd be like, yeah, you know what? You got a fair point. FSG clearly want to sell, and they're not going to do anything in the meantime before they do that. But they're not. It looks as though, you know, we can only speak on what's happened. They are going to sign players, and that's going to help us. And like I say, the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, look, do I think FSG might need to go now? Probably. Yeah, probably. We probably need more investment. If they stay and investment comes in, we spend on the transfer market more players, then I'm absolutely fine with that. But we do need investment. We do need investment. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not backing the owners. I'm not backing Klopp. I'm just a Liverpool fan who just does the Liverpool channel and just speaks what I want to speak, if you know what I mean. You know, people might not agree with me. People might agree with me. I'm not going to have a go about people's opinions. You know, people want things done a different way. It's their opinions, man. Everyone's got an opinion, right? Or
it's all about opinions. All four of us here have different opinions on things, as we've seen today.
It's football at the end of the day, and there's no real right and wrong in football, because if there was right and wrong in football, every manager would coach exactly the same way of every club that they're at. You know, every coach who can completely coach every club exactly the same way if there was no right or wrong. There's different ways of winning, there's different ways of losing. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. But guys, we are going to finish up there. It's been a great Liverpool debate again on the channel. I've been really enjoying these debates, these 12:30 shows. That will be continuing every day of the week, guys, Monday to Friday. We'll be doing these 12:30 shows. I'll be debating all different things every single day of the week. And and then I'll be back tonight as well, guys, for the watch along between Liverpool and Leicester, which we should win. If we don't win this game at home, then we are in trouble. But I will say, before we go, predictions for results today. Prediction for the result today.
4-1.
4-1. G.
3-1.
3-1, Cav.
Yeah, I'm with Jay. 3-1, I think.
Yeah, I think Leicester there to get a bit of a hiding, to be fair. They look shocking at the moment.
Yeah,
so
they look shit, to be honest. Yeah, they do.
And I will say, I know everyone got down about Liverpool losing to Man City in the League Cup 3-2, but I saw a lot of positives in that game. And that's why I was very hype on us beating Aston Villa. And I saw a lot of positives in that game. Yeah, our defending needs work on, but we play with that risk, don't we? We always give chances away. It's up to the opposition to score. If they don't score, it's their fault, ain't it? But we do give opposition chances. We always will do. But so are Man City at the moment. Everyone's getting chances against Man City. The difference is Man City have a robot up front who literally is 1-in-1 as a striker. And that's the difference between them and probably everyone but Arsenal at the moment in the Premier League. But yeah, I'm going for a big victory tonight. I can't wait for it. Looking forward to it. I think we win. I still think we get top 4. Tottenham come out of it because Tottenham are shocking. Conte's leaving in the summer because he's only got 5 months left. He ain't signed a new deal. So it's all funny. But yeah. So till then, guys, big up Jamrock with super chat as we finish. Big up to you, my man. When we drew against Everton, West Ham, United and Leicester 18-19 in the next 8 games after the loss to City, that's where I lost the league. I blamed Klopp and the players. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that year, we had quality squad. And exactly, you are allowed to blame Klopp. I love Klopp. I love him as our manager. I'm not going to lie about that. But he's not immune to criticism. You're allowed to criticise him when it's wrong. Cav will be the same. I'm sure Ed will be the same. G will be the same. If he's doing great, we praise him. If Klopp's doing great, we all praise him. We love the man. If he's failing at something, we're allowed to call it out. Why wouldn't you be? If my son, who I love to bits, and I think he's a diamond, I wouldn't swap him for any boy in the world. But if he's doing bad at something, I'm his parent. I'm allowed to criticise him about it. I'm not going to let him get away with it, I love Jurgen Klopp's our manager. It's the same thing. If he's doing great, praise him. If he's doing something we think we can criticise him on, criticise him. Simple as that. There's nothing wrong with it. Doesn't mean you hate the man. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. On that note, I'll see you tonight, guys. 7:30 tonight for the watch along. Make sure you join me. Don't go anywhere, guys. There's 225 of you here. When we finish this video, my next video is going to pop up on your screen for the watch along. Can everyone hit the like button? I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. We're out.